Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
All right, welcome to Georgia High School Sports Daily for our National Signing Day special. I'm Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager. We have a fun 3-hour special for you guys today. We're going to talk to a whole bunch of different guests. Featured right now is North Gwinnett, and they're great players after a phenomenal season. They had 12-1 on the year. We also have Benjamin Walk of Dogs 247, Brett Greenberg, Levi Armstrong of the Athletic Academy, and so many more. But, Craig, let's go ahead and get started with North Gwinnett. And let's just start with an introduction to all the great players sitting behind me. So I'm going to start with you, Eric. Everybody just introduce yourself one by one so artists can know you.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Eric Ronning, wide receiver at North Gwinnett High School, and I'm signed with Kennesaw State.
What's up, guys? I'm Tommy Lafayette. I'm a running back at North Gwinnett High School, and I'm signing with UPenn.
What's up, guys? I'm Hudson Morton. I'm a tight end at North Gwinnett, and I'm signing with Charleston Southern.
What's up, everybody? I'm CJ Hollandquist, DB at North Gwinnett High School, signing with Reinhardt University.
All right, so obviously these are all our guests for today's special. Again, super excited to bring this to you guys on the Peachtree Sports Network. Remember, the show is brought to you by IBW Local 613. But let's start with you, Eric. What a phenomenal season you had this past year. Over 600 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. You were a go-to option on the offensive side of the ball. Just what allowed you to break out this year and just have one of those great years for the Bulldogs?
I think it really started with, being able to rely on my teammates a lot. I think we did a lot of work over the offseason, and, we were all able to come together on a common goal, and it made me feel really comfortable on the field, and just being able to trust these guys and trust the coach and staff and, the job and the work ethic we put in every single week to, get ready for the game.
And then just speaking of the coaching staff, just talk about what Eric Godfrey meant to you and just your career on the high school level, just you being able to shine and how you did.
I love him to death. He came in 2 years ago, and he made us all feel like family right when he got here, and I have a little bit of a personal connection with him. His brother was my middle school coach, which is really cool.
That's pretty cool.
But him and the rest of the coaching staff, man, they, really allowed me to grow as a person and grow as a football player. I think everybody talks about that's what you want, is somebody that can help you develop as a person as well. And I felt that I could really do that with him around.
And then you mentioned 2 years with Coach Godfrey. That first year, you guys were young, had a great season. So we knew this year was going to be special. You guys had to really step up. Najee and I would say it seems like every position is just completely solid, has great players, leadership.
Yes.
What did you kind of step up in your game this senior year to just help your team, but also just help give yourself this opportunity to play at the next level?
I think it had to do with a lot with just the mental game, just being able to be calm and collected during every game and just, like I said, just having a full-hearted belief in, trusting these guys and did a lot of work in the weight room and trying to just be as fast and strong as I can, but a lot of it just really comes down to being focused every single play, having a keen goal and, not letting any distractions get to me during the play.
And then is it pretty wild to think that these guys you just suited up with, you guys are going to be going to all these different destinations? How excited are you for that level?
Oh, I'm so excited, but it does feel weird that, we're all going to different places, but, I can say that I've made, friends and brothers for life, so I'm going to be watching after them, and at the end of the day, I'm excited to see where everything goes.
And what about the wide receiver position do you enjoy the most?
I like that I get to touch the football. I like that I get to run, and something that I think I can do pretty well, so.
And then talk a little bit about the Kennesaw State program, just an opportunity to go there and really help build something. They've already had a great foundation, but it's got to be exciting to go there knowing that you have an opportunity to be one of the earlier guys there.
Absolutely. They're bringing in a winning program or a winning culture to their program, and it's a whole new coaching staff, and I'm really excited to be a part of it for sure. And, they're doing a lot of renovations, a lot of, new facilities and brand new coaching staff, like I said. And, I'm excited about the energy that they got over there for sure.
How cool was it to see them upset Liberty, kind of one of the biggest upsets of the college football season last year?
I thought it was awesome. It was awesome. And it's really cool that I get to step in and be a part of something that they're really building over there, and it's really special.
How important for you, just talking with your family, making this decision, was it staying home? Your parents can come see you, you're not that far of a drive. How important was that for you?
Really important. I like the availability for sure. I like that I'm close to home. I'm pretty much just up the street, and I can come see Mom whenever I want, and she can come see me. So it is really nice for sure.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's got to feel like you hit the jackpot in a sense. I mean, it's not far away. You've been training here your whole life. You've been playing Georgia high school football. Being able to play in Georgia, in this state, this got to be awesome.
Absolutely, definitely is for sure.
100%. Well, we're going to move it down to Tommy, just ask a little about, obviously, his commitment. So, Tommy, you ended up breaking your commitment with me. Initially, you obviously was committed to Stanford. So, what was that process like? You obviously decommitted, reevaluated your decision, and then chose UPenn. So, just talk a little bit about that and your decision there.
So a big thing was I was going into a room at Stanford with 3 running backs in the 2024 class, and you don't really sign 3 running backs too much. You sign 1 to 2 max. So a big part was playtime, and obviously, I mean, signing with UPenn, their starting running back just hit the transfer portal. He's at GT now.
Yes, he is.
So it's gonna be cool to see where he's gonna land up. But I mean, another big thing was the academic side of things. Like, I want to get into business. My dad does business. I envy that a lot. So, I mean, if you have an opportunity to go to the best business school in the world, why don't you go?
That's true. And then speaking of it, I was going to actually ask you that. Obviously, you talked about Malachi Hosley, you transferred.
Mm-hmm.
He's from here in Georgia, Northside
yeah.
Columbus, and now he's coming back home. So how cool is that to see, hey, I'm going to a university where they not only build up their players, but develop them where if they
Mm-hmm.
choose to go somewhere else, they can.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Priore, head coach there, he's a great guy. And when I talked to him on my official visit, he talked a lot about family. And, like, Malachi's going down to see his family. It's a huge decision for him, I mean, financially. And just it's just amazing for him to be able to get closer to those he loves. So, I mean, he respects it completely. I respect it completely. I get to go in a room and have a good chance at being that guy. So we'll see.
For sure. And then what did you just enjoy most when you took your official visit to UPenn?
Oh, it's the culture for sure. I mean, you're in a big city. You're in a fun city, Philly. You got
Yeah.
them Eagles fans. Go Eagles. You see, not an Eagles fan, but I am now.
Okay.
So you got the culture. You got Philly,
man,
the city.
Eagles fan.
It's just an amazing place to be in, you know, and it's just a fun area. You got the stadium. It's an amazing stadium. Just facilities are all brand new, multi-million dollars. You're around billionaires. You're around millionaires. You're around a bunch of people that you can look up to, mentor from. So it's just a great place to be.
Craig, before I bring you in, I want to ask you about this season. I mean, electric season for you. You come over, you transfer from Lambert. You're now at North Gwinnett, 1,000 yards. It was that bell cow again. You've had highlights, right? You had the hurdles, the stiff arms. Just talk about this your career, how much you enjoyed playing for under Coach Godfrey with North Gwinnett.
So, I mean, the first day I got to North Gwinnett, Coach Godfrey accepted me like one of his own sons. Like, it's the family, the culture at North Gwinnett is it's unmatched, in my opinion. Like, all the guys took me under their wing. I was hanging out with them day one. I was doing stuff outside. So, I mean, it was incredible to be a part of that. And this season that we did and everything that we accomplished. I mean, we could have gone a little bit more, but 13 or 12-1, I'm fine with that.
True.
Certainly. And then I was so impressed with how you were able to go to North Gwinnett this season, immediately bond with the teammates, fit in. How did that 1 year at North Gwinnett, you think, prepare you to be able to go up in college and kind of do the exact same thing, get in there, set the tone in the off season, the workouts, but also just hit the ground running?
I mean, playing in Gwinnett County in 6A football now is the best football. I stand by that. It's the best football in the country. You're playing with guys that are all going Power 5, or Group 5, Power 5, college players all over the field. We had every single D lineman we had. It's going Power 5. Jake Godfrey, he's going to be 5-star linebacker. We can see it. He's going to be a 5-star linebacker. I mean, running those reps in practice every single day, getting reps against Chandler Jordan, Chauncey Davis. Just, you got big names all over the field that you get to play against every single day. And not just that, on my own team, I think practice was harder than games, because I had to go against dudes that are twice the size of some of the guys I went against in games. So it was fun, but, you know, it's definitely prepared me.
Certainly, and you aren't afraid to run between the tackles. You also seen your catching ability. What do you think you bring to the table just as a running back that maybe is versatile and able to do some things that we haven't seen yet?
I mean, as you said, versatility, like, that's one of the biggest things I sell myself on. And going into a running back room where their priority in the offense is heavily on the running back. So Malachi Hosley last year, 1,300 rushing yards for the team. I mean, it's just a really run-heavy offense, and I think it suits me perfectly. They get their backs in the pass game a lot, and I just think I'd be a perfect fit for what they do at Penn.
And then I had a stat in 2019. There were about 49 players from Georgia that were in the Ivy Leagues. North Gwinnett actually put 3 in that year. How does it feel to officially be an Ivy Leaguer?
I mean, it feels pretty good. I mean, we get to compete for a championship, so not just an Ivy League championship, but a national championship. So I mean, it's really cool to be able to be a part of that year one.
Final question before we go to Hudson. I want to ask, what was your favorite moment, just chronicle it for me, over your course of your high school career? What did you enjoy the most?
So I got two. I got Mill Creek High School, playing against Mill Creek High School. I had a little bit of an ankle injury, and I was kind of limited reps. And Coach Godfrey came over to Coach Faulkner, and he said, let's run this play that we've been practicing all week that we were kind of iffy on because my ankle. And I ran a wheel out of the backfield, scored a touchdown to seal the game.
That's pretty cool.
And then in my sophomore year, I had a 99-yard kick return for a touchdown and against Mountain View High School, and one rushing, one receiving. So I had kick return, rushing, and receiving against them in a little 300 bomb. So
In one game?
yeah,
That's insane. Wow.
it was fun.
Exactly why Tommy is special. Hey, for sure. All right, Hudson, let's bring you up here now.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir. Anytime. All right, Hudson. So, very underrated prospect when you look at your game, right? But you do a lot of stuff well that coaches really want at the next level. You block well, you know your reads, you obviously can catch the football well. Just talk about playing with North Gwinnett and just your development over the course of your career where you are now.
So the way we run our offense, I think I click well with it. I think going in the sniffer position, being able to block, and then going out in routes, specifically our offense, we call it the dog position, and I feel like I fit it very well. And just overall, I mean, the blocking, going out, receiving, it just works very well for me for our school.
If you had to tell anybody coming through the North Gwinnett program and coming under Coach Godfrey to be as great of a tight end as you were, what would you tell them?
Definitely be very universal and versatile. Go in there with a mindset like, hey, maybe you don't want to block this play. You want to go out for routes because everybody loves having the ball in your hands.
True.
But just going in there and being unselfish and learning that not everything is about you in the moment and just experiencing the position itself.
For sure. And then obviously we built this relationship with Charleston Southern. So just walk me through a little bit of that, just talking with their coaching staff. What made that the right fit for you?
So I've actually never been to Charleston until my official visit, and it was just a build-up. Everybody was telling me how great it was, great town. And I finally went there, met the coaching staff, and just the energy they brought and everything they told me about their offense and what they brought to the table really clicked with me. And I really liked them, and not just as football coaches, but as humans themselves. They're just great people, and I really enjoyed it.
Last question before I throw it to Craig. Talk about the scheme fit. Will you kind of play a similar position to sniffer that you played obviously with Coach Godfrey, or will it be a little bit different, a little bit of everything?
It will be a little bit of everything, definitely playing the sniffer position as well as putting your hand in the dirt, tight end, and going out in the slot. So just all around, they want me to be the universal tight end, and I'm super excited about it, similar to what we run at North Gwinnett.
Hudson, walk us through that initial visit you finally took. When was that?
It was, I would say, a month ago, about then.
So what was that like this last year? Maybe not knowing where your destination was going to be, knowing you want to play on that next level, but then finally getting a spot where you feel like this can be your home.
It felt really good, and all the work I put in to football and all that, I kind of felt relieved in a way because I was hurt my senior year going into it, and I didn't know where I was going to go, and Charleston Southern reached out, and I got to build a relationship with them, and it felt really good to know I was wanted, and they believed in me.
And Tommy already talked about practice. I mean, how tough was it going up against those guys every day?
Our defense was something else, from the D-line to the linebackers to the secondary. It was just all-around talent, and for our offense, it's very good because we got to build off that talent and got to experience very good players. So when we went into game, like Tommy said, it felt almost easier because they weren't as good as our defense in a way. Our defense was just really explosive.
And you talked about injuries. You're all healed up now, ready to go?
Yeah, I got surgery. I'm ready to go. Working for going to college.
Fantastic. And then your best memory from North Gwinnett, maybe this season?
This season, definitely, I didn't play in Mill Creek. Actually, I did play in Mill Creek. It was the game I went back. We ran inside zone, and I pulled around, and I got a huge block for Ryan to split the seam, and he went and scored. And that was really a turning point in the game.
Yeah. And then for you, Hudson, what's kind of the next step of the process? Obviously, I know you got to finish out the rest of the school year, but in terms of workouts and preparation, we plan to leave for school. What's the kind of the timeline for all that?
So I'm reporting June 15th, but right now I've just been working a lot on my strength and speed, getting prepared for going to the next level because those guys are bigger, faster, stronger. So just in general, trying to be more like them and getting used to it.
Final question: what's your favorite part about Charleston Southern?
Definitely its location. It is a little far, but I really like its location. It's on the beach, and it's really good football. and just the coaching staff believes in me, and that's what I really like the most about it.
For sure. All right, we're going to bring CJ on now. CJ Hollandquist of North Gwinnett. This should be very fun. So I got a cool stat. I'm going to say that here in just a second. 54 tackles this year, 2 interceptions. I got to go back to practice, too, because they keep saying the defense is something special. You were part of that defense. Guys, Malachi Whedon in there, Chandler Jordan, obviously Jake Godfrey, Braxton Kyle. What was it like going to practice against these guys every day?
It was just very competitive. You know, we would always just talk a lot of stuff to the offense and stuff and see how mad they would get because we'll stop their plays and they'll have to come up with trick plays in practice. But it was very fun.
For sure. And then I want to bring up a stat for those in the audience that's watching at home. You guys set a school record with 19 interceptions this year, right? And what was so cool was at every level: defensive line, linebacker, secondary. Talk about just being a part of that special group and setting the school record for North Gwinnett.
It was just special because at the start of the season, we would always just do ball drills, you know, practicing intercepting the ball, stripping the ball, and then it just related to game. And then throughout the season, Coach was like, at the rate we're going to beat the record, and we just bought in, and we wanted to beat the record, and that's what we did.
And then just talk about your relationship with your defensive coordinator and how important that was just for your development.
It was a good relationship with him. I like how he would come up with game plans for different teams, and he made us ready for the game. Like, we felt ready with the game plan, and we knew we could stop whatever they had because, like Tommy said, being in 6A is good people, good teams with good players, and he always came up with game plans to stop them, so yeah.
100%. And then just talk about Reinhardt a little bit. What just made that the right fit for you? What did you enjoy about that university?
I enjoy how the coaches were, the coaching staff, and how hard they work. It's a very hard program. They work very hard, and the coach has great plans for the team and always make sure you finish the drill. And it's like North Gwinnett got me prepared for it, and it's all I can ask for.
Let's talk about scheme fit. We know in college now you got to be able to do so many things, well, similar to the tight end position, right? A lot of guys want to see the field early. You got to play either slot corner, strong, free. So many positions they ask you to play. Kind of, how do they see you fitting into the scheme? Will you be a little bit all over, or will you be kind of to one side?
I'll be a little bit all over. They see me at nickel in all 3 safety positions and even at corner, so I'll be all over.
Wow. Okay, so from your viewpoint, if I bring Craig in here, how do you, as a DB, prepare for that? How do you prepare to be able to play all 3? Because that's not easy. That's 3 different jobs you got to know. So just talk about that.
Just buy into what the coach is telling you. Make sure you just train and just ready and just listen to what the coach is telling you.
Absolutely. And we talked about that school record, 19 interceptions. This was against teams that don't really turn the ball over that much. I know Mill Creek doesn't. A lot of the teams on the schedule. So that comes from preparation. How do you feel that the defense this year was able to just understand what the opponents were doing, be comfortable in your roles, and be able to produce those plays that, I mean, every defense is trying to get?
I think it was just a lot of film and our team knowing what we had. We built good relationship with each other and with the coaching staff, and us just being confident going against our offense, which was a good offense, making stops and stuff. So we just built up confidence as a team, like knowing we're going to go out and stop and make plays.
Right, and 2023 season was outstanding for you guys. This last year, you guys were playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, playing in this huge stage, all these big games. How do you think that prepared you just to be able to handle the pressure up in college?
I think it handled us well because our first starter schedule was just really hard, and we like to get all the hard games out first. So, like, we're just prepared for the rest of the season. So I think it'll help in college, like, from all competition levels.
And then, obviously, bigger, faster, stronger. Everyone wants to get all 3 of those. But what are your goals just at the college level? What are you really focusing on improving?
Improving speed and weight, getting my weight up and getting faster by maintaining my weight, yes, sir.
And then when you're at North Gwinnett, you're trying to battle for that starting job. I mean, how hard was that just to be able to go from someone trying to get the starting job to holding it down and becoming a leader on the defense?
It was hard because, like they've been saying, we have a lot of talent like Chandler Jordan, Chauncey and stuff, but you just have to buy in and put in the work. I just will always work, train, and just try my hardest and go out there and do my best and have to be a leader because the younger players, they would just look up to us, and you have to maintain confidence so the team feels confident about things.
And speaking of confidence, we saw some of the fearlessness. You're not afraid to go downhill and tackle. So talk about that part of your game.
A lot of people like to talk about DB size and stuff, but I think size don't matter because I have a heart and I want to play football and I want to go out there and make plays.
All right, guys, as we wrap up this segment, we do have an audience here, so let's hear it for the one time for all these great North Gwinnett players. Tommy Lafayette, CJ Hollandquist, Hudson Morton, and Eric Rodden from the audience in the back, all the parents and everybody here. All right, congrats once again, North Gwinnett, phenomenal program, 12-1, and we appreciate them having these in-studio guests, all great players, and can't wait to watch their college journey. Coming up, we will talk to Christian Farrell of Walton about his commitment to the University of Cumberland. So don't go anywhere. Come right back, right here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
Nobody wants to hear the word roaches because who wants to admit they have roaches?
I actually found some weird roaches. I didn't know what they were. I decided to choose Breda. I reached out to them. They check in routinely. They're explaining what they're doing. So there's a lot of clarity in the process as well. I think that just speaks to the level of safety that I feel with the organization.
The facts are, roaches are everywhere in our environment. So what are you doing to keep them out of your home?
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know, just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for, what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
For a healthier future together, look to Northside Hospital.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Nigel Wilkins along with Craig Sager. And a special guest here, outstanding DB from Walton High School, Christian Farrell, who had obviously a great career there. This year you finished 19 tackles, 2 interceptions this year. I just want to talk a little about your journey. A year before, you guys made the state championship game. This year, obviously, I know it didn't go probably how you guys wanted, but you still had a great year on the field. Just talk about this past season with the Raiders.
This past season, I mean, it wasn't all great, but I mean, with the great coaching staff we have, like, we're able to work through it, and with the messages that they give us, we just work off what they feed us.
And then you were one of obviously the returning guys this year, obviously, after a team that lost so many seniors. So just talk about the leadership role you kind of had to take and author the defense.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because, I mean, I was behind all those big guys like Wendell, Bam, CL, all of them. But, I mean, I had to step up and play a big role with the leadership role because we had younger guys, so they, like, had to look up to us. So it was a challenge.
For sure. And then if you can say, just from those great guys y'all had, what were some things you just learned going against them every day in practice?
I mean, they were all great. It was straight competition all day, every day. Every practice we were talking mess, but it was a great thing though.
For sure. And then obviously, you come in, like I said, great DB, undersized. Talk about kind of just playing with that chip on your shoulder and how it's led to your success.
You just got to be coachable and just play your heart out because, you got big guys out there, 6'4", dream build, all the coaches look at. But when you have the mindset and the great coaching staff, then you can really get through anything.
For sure. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned in your career in football?
Biggest lessons I learned was just to keep your head on your shoulders, not make the moment too big. Because, in the big stages of like 6A, 7A, you're always going to be in front of a big crowd. So you just got to stay level-headed.
And before I talk to Craig, I want to ask you just a little bit about your training. Not everybody gets to see what you do on a daily basis. So if you can walk us through that, like what's your training like? How have you been able to just learn those things and be applied to the field?
Well, great coaching staff. So we have a great DB coach, Coach Allen. I appreciate him. But he'll have us out there doing ball drills, footwork, just getting us prepared and ready for throughout the week and getting ready for Fridays.
Yeah, and we were talking about with Walton this season, it's no secret they replaced all those starters. The defense, obviously new guys had to step up. You're an athlete. You can play a lot of different roles. So what did you just expect heading into your senior year on finding your position and what you would be able to bring to the table?
I just knew what I could bring to the table from the previous years. Like I knew the coaching staff had a lot of faith and trust in me. So I just had to go out there and play my heart out. But, I would play any position, whatever they want me to play, just to get us the win.
Exactly. And then the training, Najee was talking about all the work you've been putting in the off season, just preparing for your role. Do you feel like you're training more so just to be a great athlete, and then you will do specific drills for DB, but really it's just about improving your motion, your speed, strength, and all those different things?
Yes, sir. I just try to get bigger and stronger, trying to increase my speed because, I'm not the biggest guy, so I just got to perfect the little things.
And then what were some of the big memories of this past season? Maybe not even like a positive one, but just a moment where you had to really like push yourself and focus on realizing that you want to play at the next level, you want this dream, and just having to go out there.
We didn't have as great of a season as last year, but there was some adverse moments, but me just fighting through what we had to go through this season just like showed me how much I love the game.
And then I went to Walton back in the day, and I made a joke once. If you have like a 3.5 GPA at that school, you might be in the bottom half of the class.
Yeah.
Walton is tough. I thought it was harder than UGA. I'm not even joking. What was it just about Walton do you think is prepared to just be a student athlete, just the overall culture at that school?
It's really family oriented, but it's great culture. They're really a student first school. They really want everyone to succeed, and then the sports can come second. So they really look out for you.
And then we were talking with the North Gwinnett players. You guys played on some big stages. Obviously, 2 seasons ago, you're in the state championship. You guys opened up at Mercedes-Benz at Corky Kell. What did playing in those environments, do you think, help you prepare in college to be able to just handle the loud environment and just the excitement of these big crowds?
I think the main thing is just to stay focused. Like I said previously, you can't let the moment get too big. You just got to stay locked in and focus and just be with your guys and know what y'all can do.
And then I want to ask you just a little bit about, obviously, on the collegiate level or even NFL. Is there anybody like to just model your game after? Guys similar to your stature. One that stands out to me is Mike Sanders still. He's obviously in the NFL. I see you smile a little bit when I said that name. Who do you like to watch if you had to say?
I was literally just about to say that. Mike, I feel like is a guy I like to look after because, he's not as big as a guy, but you see he can go out there and ball and put on first team. So
100%. All right, let's talk about the big commitment, University of Cumberland. Just walk me through that relationship you was able to build with them. What made that seem like the right fit for you?
It was a pretty quick turnover because, I wasn't really heavily recruited earlier in the season. But, I just love the culture and how it was so family-oriented. They were just so focused on trying to build a bond with the players. So I just loved how they talked to us and were preparing us for when we come up there.
Yes, sir. And then talk about, obviously, relationship with the DB coach there, Star Thomas. What did that kind of mean to you, just talking to him and being able to build, hey, this is how he fit into my defense, my scheme? What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. It was all smiles and great things when I was up there because, I'm a big cover guy. So he thought I could be a great fit in the defense that they run over there.
For sure. Now, I think mom and dad is in here with you. So when you told them, hey, I want to go here, what did they say about maybe having to travel that far to come see you?
I mean, they thought it was pretty hard. Like, I have siblings at home, so, you know, it's pretty hard for them. Had to have a little conversation with them last night, get their head right, but it was pretty cool.
For sure. And just talk about being kind of a role model. I don't know if you're the oldest or not. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but just talk about being a role model for them and showing them, hey, sometimes you might face adversity and have to do a different route, but you can still be successful.
I mean, it's a big thing for me because I love them with all my heart, but I have a little brother. He just wants to be just like me, so I try to help him out. Like, we go outside, throw the ball around. He's like, I'm going to go play football. So I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'm going to get you right.
There you go.
Sure.
All right, man. Final question before we wrap up, man. What was your favorite part of your Walton journey over the course of your career?
Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite part was definitely, even though we lost, state game.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you like most about that?
Just the journey. Like, we were really bought in. Like, Coach Bruner, our head coach over there, he was telling us at the beginning of the season, like, we're going 15 for 15. Like, he was telling us every day, just drilling it into our heads, like, that was like our habit. Like, so we came in, locked in every single day. And then when we got to the big stage, it was just a little adverse moment, but that was definitely the best moment of my Walton career.
For sure. Well, guys, that's all the time we have. We want to say thanks so much to Christian Farrell and his parents for being in the studio and bringing him on. Special congratulations to the standout Walton defensive back who had a great career. We'll be right back here in just a second. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. So much fun. Special shout out again to Christian Farrell's parents and for them coming in studio to talk about his commitment and signing day. We're going to have Nico Maggio here in a second. But before we obviously bring him on, I just have a quick question for Craig before we talk to Nico. How cool is it to see these players be able to go on and achieve their dreams? And just like you said, a lot of them are under-recruited, underrated, and still being able to sign on to a college and play at the next level.
It's the most important thing. When you lose your final high school football game, obviously with Walton 2 years ago, losing the state championship was heartbreaking. You heard this year they obviously fell, was that to Valdosta?
Yes.
The first round. That's tough, but the opportunity to go on to the next level, kind of have just a fresh start, new career, new set of challenges, a new team to bond with. It's just, I mean, it's awesome. If you like football, you want to play at the next level, you have that opportunity that other people don't get. And so really, I mean, it's just a fresh start for them, and the sky's the limit.
For sure. I think we have Nico ready, so let's go ahead and bring him on. Nico Maggio of Buford, obviously now committed to North Carolina. What's going on, Nico?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. We appreciate you coming on, man. So you got to talk us through the process. What you just did, you don't always see every day a player that initially signs an early signing window and then decommits and then obviously chooses a different school. So walk us through that process of just reevaluating your decision, like, hey, I'm thinking about this school. I'm thinking about maybe making a change. Talk about that.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, the whole thing happened with the Wake Forest's old coaching staff. So Coach Clausen resigned, and my D-tackle coach actually retired. So I kind of told my high school coach just want to keep options open. And the opportunity came to me, and it was a pretty big one to pass on. So I jumped on it.
For sure. And then obviously the opportunity came. So what was the communication like with the North Carolina staff when you were like, hey, my defensive line coach here at Wake Forest retired, new coaching overhaul? What was that relationship, just building that and getting that call from their defensive staff?
Yeah, like I said, I kind of kept it with my high school coach because, just with the communication part. But once I knew it was official, I hopped on the call with Coach Lombardi, the GM, and they just tell me they're very interested and they want to get things rolling. So I scheduled my official visit for that weekend, and I was just ready to go. So
Got you. Two-sided question. What did you enjoy most about your official visit to North Carolina? And then 2, talk about playing for obviously the GOAT, one of the best to ever do it, and Coach Belichick.
Yeah, the visit was just amazing. You know, they're obviously all brand new still. They're still getting people there. It's just exciting to see all the NFL guys, all the pro experience, and just the development that's just waiting to happen. And I just can't wait to learn and every day and just take in all the knowledge.
Yeah, and Nick, Nico, it's so exciting to be going in during the kind of this year one. It's such a intriguing destination. You see Coach Belichick, what he's trying to build there. How excited are you to be there for the start of what UNC is trying to do?
I mean, just it's hard to put in words. You know, I had my one-on-one with Coach Belichick, and he was just telling me, you know, all the good things on my film and how I play and how I fit his scheme perfectly. And I'm what he's looking for. So that was kind of like a surreal moment. But, you know, I'm just ready to put my head down and work, do whatever they need. So.
And then defensive line, defensive tackle, I mean, it's such a valuable position. It's very competitive. Obviously, the NFL draft coming up, we're going to see a bunch of those guys. It's such an important part of the football team. What's kind of your mantra at the defensive line? Do you enjoy run blocking? Is it just pad level? I mean, what are some of the things that you really focus on to make yourself great?
Yeah, you know, you kind of got to be good at all factors, obviously. But what I strive on is probably, you know, run game. I don't get moved back. I played by myself in a 3-man front and at Buford. So, you know, it's just stuffing that run. There's nothing better.
And then what was that like just at Buford, a team with so many talented guys that are trying to play at the next level? Where a guy like you, even though you're a 3-star and a big name, can kind of go overlooked. But what was it like just to be surrounded by so much talent on the same team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love those boys. We don't really look at it like that. There's no really stars on the team. We kind of just we had a bunch of players on the team. It was just so fun going out every Friday night competing with them.
Talk a little bit about that Buford standard of excellence. I mean, it's got to be just day in and day out, just for you guys to be able to keep up that incredible track record of success. Just talk about kind of the work you guys put in, just how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with Coach App, just from every little thing he says, from, you know, tucking your shirt in to work out or, you know, on the field, a little step in the field. It all connects and everything he says, you know, as I graduate and move on, it all clicks. You know, it makes sense. It kind of, you know, what you work for, it all comes together and makes sense.
And Nico, I can't help but notice you got some big hands right there. You got some big hands. Just talk about how physical your game is, just going at it with the opponents, just how excited you are for the college level.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. There's nothing, since I was a little kid, just putting on the helmet and just going to hit someone. There's no better. It's just fun to me, you know. I just love going to get the ball, going to get people, going to run people over. So it's kind of what I was made to do, what I'm built to do. So.
And then, Nico, I want to ask you about Coach Bill Belichick. Got to ask you the hot button topic. Like, what is he like as a person? Is he a man of few words? Does he talk a lot? Like, what is he like as a coach?
Yeah, you know, he walked in the team meeting room, you know, suit and tie on, and then had a little presentation. Then I walked in the one-on-one meeting, and, you know, that picture that's on the screen right now, just kind of just his comfy clothes, you know, kind of showing a different side of him. But, I mean, he just loves football. He's not all tied up in the off-the-field stuff.
100%. And obviously, Craig asked you about just the Buford standard and everything like that. I just want you to revisit that just a little bit. You talked about how Coach App is kind of that leader for everything you guys do. But we've talked to him several times on the show, and the big thing he always points out is everybody knows their role. Whether you're a star, you're coming over, whatever it is, you have to define that role and know your role and don't try to play above that role. So talk about that element of everyone buying into one common goal in order to put forward what you guys can on the field every year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just no one being bigger than each other. It's everyone's equal. Everyone just does their job. If you have guys that are selfish, then one guy can mess it up for the other 10. So, you know, it's very just discipline and just worrying about your job for your teammates, not only for yourself.
For sure. And that's all the time we got for today, Nico. We appreciate you coming on and talking about your journey. Congratulations on your commitment to North Carolina, and good luck the rest of the way. Can't wait to follow your college journey.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yes, sir. Anytime. All right, guys. Coming up right after the break, we will have on the Athletic Academy and their co-founders talk a little bit about what they're doing here, not only in the state of Georgia, but all across the state, all across the United States. So don't go anywhere. Come right back on the Peachtree Sports Network. Yes, I.
Calls it the staple product.
Levi Armstrong. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkes along with Craig Sager and Hayden Gill. Remember, this is a 3-hour special, so we will be here all the way to 3 p.m. We hope you've enjoyed the first couple segments of the show so far. Talked to North Gwinnett and all their phenomenal players. And obviously, we talked to Christian Farrell of Walton, who's going to the University of Cumberland. And we just talked to Nico Maggio as well of Buford, who will be going to North Carolina. But now we have the Athletic Academy co-founder, Levi Armstrong. So without further ado, we're going to bring him on. He's doing a great job out there in Texas. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Doing good. So I want you to just talk a little bit about the origin story. It's so cool. I remember just reading up on it. Obviously, you were working at a company, and then kind of in the middle of COVID, right, some things happen. You're like, hey, let me start this idea of not only just helping kids, but just this platform that coaches can use, players, whatever it may be. Talk about the origin story of how everything started for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to shout out, all the kids signing today. Congratulations to those guys. Big time day for them, and going on to the next level, they're going to make some great memories. So just congratulations to those guys to start out. But yeah, just about us. We, like you said, started out in February of 2020. So basically peak COVID. We wanted to do something a little bit different, and we kind of went the route of helping individual kids at first. And then we grew from there, and we thought, what can differentiate us and make us stand out a little bit as a company? And so now we created these recruiting platforms. I guess that was about in 2022, 2023. So they're still fairly new, but we went a different direction from helping individual kids to now helping an entire team with a recruiting tool that's going to kind of differentiate their program, keep everything in one spot. And really, it's a one-stop shop for all of their recruiting efforts now. It's been a pretty good journey. We've got a lot of work to do, and we're starting to make some headway in Georgia, so we're excited.
Tell me just a little bit about your USP, your unique selling point when you initially started this and you were trying to get that first school. And what was that first school for you? And what did you tell them, hey, try our service. This is what it can mean to you in your program.
Yeah, so funny enough, it was in Texas, not a huge surprise. They love their football there too. It was Louisville High School in Texas. We had to connect there, and we started just bouncing some ideas off of him. He was the recruiting coordinator. And he's like, hey, if you guys can put something together for me, I can take it to my head coach. Then we took some ideas that he had. We also have a background as college coaches as well. Two of the other owners, Corey Shandrick and BJ Bennett, they also coached at the college level. So this is stuff that we knew that a college coach would want to see, as long with, what could actually help a high school coach. So all the parts and pieces, and we have a lot of customization within our platforms. So if a high school coach comes to us and says, hey, we want an alumni tab, or we want to feature our new facility, our new football field or practice facility, we can add sections like that onto their platform to highlight whatever they're looking for within that program.
For sure, sir. And then obviously I'm gonna let my co-host ask you about just your expansion in Georgia. But I do want to ask, after getting that first initial one, how were you able to expand outside of Texas? I mean, you have, I think, close to more than 50 states. I think you are out of the country as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but how are you able to expand and hit those other states as well?
Yeah, so we had a school in Toronto. Toronto's an interesting one. So, Canada in general, just with the lack of college opportunities there, but having us gives those kids those opportunities. But going back to your point of kind of how we expanded, we hit Twitter hard. We have a lot of marketing on there. You guys can see we do a lot of custom graphics for teams. We do those types of things to actually be true partners for them. And it just kind of spreads from there. We work with Carrollton, Gainesville, Coffee, Cartersville, schools like that in Georgia. So whenever you land a school like that, you start to partner with a school like that. You can kind of see the customization piece on there of, hey, you guys want a new background picture or highlight something different. You guys come to us and we'll change that for you. We can do all that, all those pieces for you. So once they kind of see that and realize that this is a tool that they own, it's their brand. So whenever they're sending this off to a college coach, that coach knows exactly where it's coming from. Cartersville owns their site. It's unique, and again, it's a differentiator than sending an Excel sheet or something generic with data on it. It's visuals. You can see the kids' pictures, those types of things.
Yeah. So then my other question I have is when they send it out to coaches, what do these coaches see, and what does the individual players, what do they get to? What does the coach see about every individual player?
Sure. Yeah, it's a one-stop shop, like I said. So it connects their huddle, their Twitter, those types of things. They can add even some, camp videos or drill type of videos as well to kind of, again, differentiate themselves and show them different unique aspects, in the weight room. But it also shows their physical attributes, places that they have offers. If they want a place that has an interest tab, just so it kind of gain some more experience or I guess more marketing for the player, I guess, we can add those types of pieces to these cards. So again, if they want to quickly get in front of these kids, and I'm looking at some of these pictures right now that I sent over, they can order and list those kids however they want as well. So if they have a Michael or they have some of these other type of players, they can put those guys to the top of the list. So those college coaches are seeing those guys immediately. And I do want to make a point, this isn't just for the Carrolltons and the Cartersville, the schools that are having guys stop by all the time, those college coaches. This is kind of guys for guys just my past experience. I played at a school in Indiana, not a super small school, but we didn't have tons of coaches stopping by. So this gives those kids the opportunity to kind of have control over their card and a little bit of their recruiting. So if they're ever at a camp or they need to share their information, they can share their individual link with a coach. And now that coach has all their information in one spot to start recruiting that kid and getting in front of that kid.
Absolutely. I have a question for you real quick about that. So some of these kids that you mentioned that might not be at a Carrollton or Buford, some of their biggest advocates are coaches. They know that their kids are good enough to play at the next level. They want to get the word out. How does this tool help maybe a coach that has a player that they have confidence in to be able to create this profile and get it out to the colleges?
Yeah, great question. So again, the accessibility and just like the streamlined process of it all, of just copying, you can basically copy the individual link and shoot that out to a college coach. A lot of schools in Georgia, they do a really good job with like recruiting coordinators. I'd love to see that and work with those types of schools. So yeah, I mean, it's just all so streamlined and again, a one-stop shop. And something else that we did is we created a college search tool. This search tool has over 800 college football programs on it. And once the kid actually signs up and creates his player card, he now has access to this search tool. So like parents love this. Obviously the kids love it because now they can take a little bit of recruiting into their hands. And obviously the coaches love it too because it's not all on their shoulders. But basically it filters by any state, any division level. You can filter those together to find the school that you're looking for. And basically it gives those kids opportunities to connect with all the coaching staffs throughout the country, all of their camp information and dates, and lastly, every single recruiting questionnaire throughout the country. So kids can literally go onto their school website, or the website that we provide, the platform, and find schools that they're looking for, start filling out questionnaires, and start having more traffic come by their school. And Louisville is a prime example. They utilize it really well, and they have new coaches and new programs stop by that school all the time now because those kids are utilizing those recruiting questionnaires.
Now, I know we have to let you go, but I do want to ask one final question before we let you go, before we talk about our most shocking flips. As far as opportunities, what is next, obviously, for you, your company? What's in the works for you? What programs are you maybe targeting? What's kind of that next step in the process for you currently right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're going after everybody we can in Georgia. And again, it's for everyone. Like we work with the Callaways, we work with the Cedar Towns, working with Chamblee, I think that's how you say it, with Ed Reed and those guys now too. So, we're not stopping. We're going to do product development as we continue to grow. Obviously, we're going to make some changes and come about with some updates. So this is like the tip of the iceberg for us. We'd love to stop by. I know that we talked about like the Corky's, the Corky's Kell stuff and those types of things, and just like getting inside Georgia a little bit more, coming to more conventions and those types of things, shaking hands, showing face. So that's really the direction that we want to go, and just start building better relationships with schools, coaches, and programs inside Georgia.
For sure. Well, Levi, that's all the time we have. We look forward to continue to build a relationship with you, obviously, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing about your great company that you have out there in Texas.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity. Hopefully we can meet in person sometime. But yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir, for sure. All right, guys, remember, go to The Athletic Academy to get the latest on, obviously, all of that we talked about with Levi today, all about his great company, helping out kids, not just kids, but colleges, players, coaches, and everything like that. But all right, now it is time, the last part of this segment, to talk about the most shocking flips. And I'm starting with you, Hayden. Ousmane Kromah. We reacted in the office when this happened. What was your instant reaction when he said, hey, I'm committed to Georgia, nope, I'm signing with Florida State, and then he walked off, it's like, that's it?
It was one of the most shocking. That entire recruitment was very under the radar. Not much came out about it.
Yes.
We thought it was going to be Auburn. We knew that playing time was really important to him. But then all of a sudden, the day of his first commitment, it's like he comes out and is like, I'm committing to Georgia. And we were all like, wow, that's kind of shocking. And then on signing day, it was right before our score awards, and we couldn't get in touch with him. We couldn't get in touch with Coach Fabrizio, and all these rumors were coming out that something was going to happen, and it was just like at that point it was like, okay, something's going to happen. He's probably not going to end up at Georgia, and then to go to Florida State, which he'd been high on all along, was just very shocking.
For sure. Craig, what was yours most surprising that you saw?
Well, with that, I thought it was the biggest flip since Travis Hunter when he flipped from Florida State, so kind of the reverse. To me, it just shows when you are a five-star, when you're that valuable as a recruit, your process is going to be a lot different. That's why it was kind of like mass confusion. No one was really expecting it. I think Rusty was in there that day. He said it was crazy. And then obviously my natural reaction was, what other running backs does Georgia have coming?
Yeah, right.
Because they needed him.
Yeah, that's true. And they obviously kept Bo Walker as well, bringing him in. So, no, it's going to be interesting to see, especially next year. But the guy obviously got a great running back tandem. Nate Frazier will be back next year for Georgia, so that'll be interesting. I think for me, my most shocking one, definitely probably Lagonza Hayward to Florida. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit about kind of his flip. And he was committed to Tennessee for a while. He said he was excited to team up with Travis Smith Jr., who's of Westlake, now obviously at Tennessee. But it's an interesting story when he talked about kind of how the relationship changed. Like, it was still good, but he just felt like he wasn't a priority for them, and towards the end, Florida kept coming. Coach Billy Napier, their DB coach, kept coming. So that's kind of how that flipped. And then he went on a silent OV there, and then that's when officially he made that decision to flip to Florida. And I think they're getting a stud defensive back who could play early potentially. Obviously, you have Bruce Thorne, formerly of Milton, who's having a great career down there with the Gators. But Lagonza Hayward, I think he's going to be special for that program.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like the same size, but he reminds me of like Malachi Starks, just a complete freak of nature that can go out there and play any position.
It's a crazy comparison, Craig. I like it, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's the real deal.
That's insane. That's lofty expectations, considering that apparently some NFL scouts are saying that Malachi's the best safety coming out of college in 10 years.
Yeah,
I've watched some of those Toombs County playoff games. He's special. Some of those guys that can just go out on the field, dominate, clearly the best player, can play both ways. I just think he was spectacular. And their team was so dominant, they really didn't need to rely on him in crunch time. I thought his numbers could have been even more off the charts this last year.
For sure. Craig, let's ask you about a big one. You've been covering him all your career. Obviously, I know you've been hollering for a long time, but Juju, right?
Yeah.
Carrollton, he ended up flipping over to USC, not USC, flipping from USC to Colorado. What's your thoughts on that? Obviously, this has been a big topic of discussion when Shedeur was handing him, obviously, the keys to the kingdom, I guess you could say. But what's your thoughts on him? He's obviously, from reports that I'm hearing, he's going to battle for that spot in camp with Caden Salter, who's obviously from Liberty. What's your thoughts on him going to Colorado?
Yeah, what a great career for Juju. Only played the 3 years because they reclassified. Fastest quarterback in state history to get 10,000 yards. Had another great season. Plays well within that offensive system. Colorado's an interesting place, though, when you look at the star power that he's going to be replacing, playing with Coach Prime. It's going to be a big spotlight. It's going to be very exciting. I think he's going to enjoy it. There's definitely that the NIL opportunities. I know he wants to do that. To me, though, he's been a phenom since his middle school days. I remember his freshman year, which was actually only 3 years ago. We were the first to ever televise him. The hype's been pretty amazing just to see what he's been able to do. Have never really seen him have a bad game. He's well prepared. Just going to be interested to see who are the pieces with him at Colorado. When is he going to get that opportunity? And then what's his relationship going to be like with Coach Prime?
What was your reaction when that happened, Hayden?
I think the reaction was, kind of felt like that it was inevitable that he was going to flip from USC. We all kind of questioned that when he did it originally, and it felt kind of premature. And then he goes on this long recruitment process, gets really late for a five-star quarterback. And I felt like by the end of it, it was Colorado all the way. That by the time he committed, there was no other question it was going to be Colorado.
Yeah, he did that last-minute visit to Georgia. Auburn was in the contention also. Let's talk about the Justice Terry one, though, to Texas. That's a big get for the Longhorns.
Yes, it was. I'm glad you brought that up, Craig. He obviously flipped basically 3 times. Initially Georgia, decommits, then goes USC, decommits. And I'm not going to lie to you. Going to Texas, they do really good with the defensive lineman. Right now, a star in the making in Colin Simmons with what he can do on the outside edge with their leading sack getter. But I did think, Hayden, that Georgia was in this. Obviously, they were. But I thought Georgia definitely had this one locked in. But that one was a pleasant surprise. What was you thought?
I didn't think, as a Georgia fan, as it went on longer and longer, I kind of felt that as it went on, that Georgia wasn't probably going to be the team. That I felt that Georgia had kind of lost out on it because, first off, that defensive line, that front 7 class they were bringing in was one of the best we've ever seen. And then you have all these other teams that are willing to offer him a starting role day one or really early on in his career. and he's not going to have to go compete with people like Elijah Griffin or Jordan Hall or all these other guys that are out of Georgia. Or if he goes to Texas, they have some really good guys, but at the same time, most of those are edge guys and not interior defensive line guys.
For sure. And as we wrap up, any other ones on this list for you guys that stood out that y'all want to talk about?
Oh, we got to talk about Tay Harris. We got to.
I knew he was going to bring that up.
Yeah, he is just such an exciting player. I said this year I thought he was going to have that what was the KJ Bolden type year, impact for Cedartown, because he was able to do it all, and we saw it. I mean, he's such a competitor. He can hit very hard. He brings that special spark to the defensive side of the ball.
No, 100%. It's kind of crazy. I knew about this for a while. Kept it under wraps, obviously. Phenomenal player, but yeah, when I was hearing about it, he was like, yeah, I'm considering it. It's like, sure? Like, yeah, man, I go potentially play early. And what's so crazy right now, he's impressing the staff. He already has 22.07 miles per hour. When you look at Coach Corey Peoples and what he's building with that defense, I'm telling you, I feel like taking, like you said, I think he can have a KJ Bolden type year, not only in high school, but also in college. KJ was very impressive this year for Georgia, and he's going to get the keys to that defense next year for Coach Kirby Smart.
Yeah, let's see Tay Harris and C.J. Wiley going at it in a couple years.
Ooh, that's a heck of a combo.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a combo. Look, any last thoughts on that for you, Hayden?
I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to have a similar year to KJ Bolden, or maybe not to the level of Malachi Starks, but to where you see him starting young, because there's really not that much depth there for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people left. All right, guys, that is it for this segment. Coming up, we'll talk to Jaden Holder of South Carolina, who just recently announced his college decision, so don't go anywhere. Come back. We got 2 more hours right here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
Customer service is everything in our industry, and one thing our clients love is when they call Breda, they get a live representative. At Breda, you get the attention you need and deserve right when you call in. Your appointment gets scheduled right then and there, and you get a specific time, no window of arrival. Our staff are your neighbors. They know what's going on in your community, and they're invested in doing it better.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me. Can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands and proper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Struggling with food insecurity can feel lonely, yet every community across America is affected by hunger, which is why our Kroger associates work together to rescue nutritious food that would otherwise go to waste in an effort to donate 3 billion meals by 2025. Because we believe everyone should have access to fresh, delicious food. Join the Kroger Zero Hunger, Zero Waste Foundation to defeat hunger and eliminate food waste.
I've used R.S. Andrews 15 years, purchased 2 heating and air systems, so I rely on their technicians for service. I call, they come, it's fixed. And I appreciate Andrews' commitment. He gives it his all. That's how R.S. Andrews makes me smile.
Yikey wawa! Running out of hot water is one way your water heater cries out for help. Call R.S. Andrews. Get a water heater rejuvenation. Your water heater gets added life, you get more hot water. Another way R.S. Andrews makes you smile today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Nigel Wilkins along with Craig Sager. And guest with us, Max Wyborski. So we're going to talk to Jaden Holder here in just a second. But I just want to tell you guys, remember, 2-hour special left in the show for today. Remember that you can watch this show on the Atlanta News First app. So if you're out and about and you want to watch this, the National Signing Day special, make sure you check us out there on the Peachtree Sports Network via YouTube TV and also the CBS Sports streaming app, Zine. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Jaden Holder, who's looking a little spiffy, my man.
Thank you, Coach. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Just talk about putting the fit together, man, for National Signing Day, man. What went into it? Did Mama help you, or was this your own doing?
Nah, this is actually my dad. My dad helped me. We went to Men's Warehouse just last week, and we got a nice little suit and a tie to go with the school I committed to. So my dad really helped me put this all together.
Love to see it, man. And I want to talk about South Gwinnett. We know what Coach Brian Lamar does with you guys. I mean, this is a phenomenal job. Great players like yourself, Xavier Butler, and so many, Evan McDowell, so many more. Talk about playing for that South Gwinnett program and just the pride of being a general.
It's amazing just playing from just in the aspect of just development, like just playing under Coach Lamar. I've been developed as a great young man, as a player as well, and then he really pushes his players. Like, he's a great ball coach, and, so just being under his wing for 4 years just really developed me into a young man, to a great football player that I am today. And so yeah, it's just great just playing for him and just having been under his wing.
For sure. For you, Jaden, where do you feel like your game took that next jump and that next step in your senior season?
You said, what do I feel like helped to my game to that next jump?
Yeah, during your senior season. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. So it might sound weird, but I think what really helped my senior season was how I had to receive surgery for my junior season. I received surgery my junior season in the middle of my junior season, and I had to miss about 5 or so games. And so the physical therapy that I had to attack this offseason, I feel like that truly helped elevate my game, just not in terms of physical, but like just mental aspect. Like, my mental toughness increased greatly, and I feel like that really translated to my game this year, which can be seen on tape. So yeah, that setback, it led to a major comeback.
Right, and that was a labrum surgery on your shoulder in November. So you missed half your junior year. You're able to rehab and come back. I mean, at your position, you got to be able to jam, use your arms. How important was it for you to take that rehabilitation seriously, and how pleased are you that you're able to get back out there and have a great senior season?
It was extremely important to me. I attacked it full head on in every aspect. I knew that I had to have a great senior season to go where I wanted to go. So I attacked it. It was rough at times. The first few stages of physical therapy was really rough, and, it required a lot of support from those around me and just determination and perseverance through myself. But yeah, I just knew that I had to attack it if I wanted to go to where I wanted to go. And it just felt great being back on the field this season. No injuries, no troubles. It felt good. Nothing, it didn't dislocate or anything like that. So I was just really happy to be back out there and just to really just enjoy my senior year.
Right, and you're a 4.0 student. I know you're getting recruited hard from Yale, Cornell, a bunch of different schools. You decided to go to Navy. Talk about just the academic aspect and how that opened up opportunities for you.
Yeah. So just coming in from the jump into high school, I knew that having good grades will open doors, that just not having the grades would. So I really attacked academics. It was hard at times, just staying focused and balancing sports and academics and social life and all that stuff. But I knew that I wanted to be a big-time college football player, and I knew that having good grades would help me get to that level and help me receive that opportunity. So yeah, just every year I just made sure that I stayed in the books, maintain a good GPA, so that it will open doors like it has thus far and allow me to commit to the place I'm committed to today.
Yeah, and Jaden, Navy's coming off a great season last year, beating Army, your big rival on the road, and then also beating Oklahoma as well in the bowl game to end the season. What would you say you really bring to the midshipmen next season?
What I say really brings them next season?
Yeah, what bring to the team next season?
Like we said, bring the team next season?
What would you, your skill set really add to the team next season?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, my versatility. I think, so they recruited me to play striker, which is kind of a linebacker, mixed safety. And so my length and my ability to, cover and run with guys, and also to my ability to be able to blitz and come off the edge and stuff like that and add pressure and be into the run fit. So I think my versatility will really add on to them and really add on to the roster they already have right now. And I think that I can be used in a great deal of ways over there. And just like I said, my length, my ability to move, my size, and just things like that, I think it really work over there helping Navy.
And talk about that size a little bit. You're listed, I think, 6'2", 195. When did you hit that growth spurt in your varsity career where you really kind of filled into that frame?
Let's see. So it was really after my sophomore season, going into my junior spring, is when I really started to put on weight. I could tell that I was going to kind of be a varsity player that season, so I realized that I had to get my body to where it needed to be a good varsity player. So that into my sophomore year and going into my junior spring, I put on like 10 pounds and stuff like that, drinking protein, eating oatmeal, and things of that sort. And so, like I said, I just knew that I was going to have to step up for my team and be a varsity player. So that's really when I kind of grew into it. I kind of always been tall and kind of lengthy. But, yeah, into my sophomore season, going to my junior year, I just really started to grow into my frame and started putting on a little more weight.
Now, final question before we let you go, Jaden. It's a two-sided question. I want you to talk about just an OV or when you were able to go up there and visit Navy. What stood out to you the most? What did you enjoy? And then the other parts of that question, how will you train this offseason before you obviously go up there? This year, you're not coming off an injury. You're fully healthy. So how would that training be? How good does that feel to be healthy before you go off to college?
Yes, sir. So to respond to your first question, I took my OV up there just this weekend, and I committed there on Friday. I think that was the 31st, and I loved it, man. I loved it. And the thing that stood out to me the most is just the family aspect of things. Like, I know that's so cliche and so heard of nowadays, but it really felt like a family up there, like they made me and my parents feel extremely wanted, extremely loved, and that was something I was extremely grateful for. Not too many schools took a chance on me, and so just to have them take the chance on me and just show me the love and interest that they showed me throughout the weekend, it really meant a lot to me, so that's why I committed there. And then, like, for this offseason, like you said, I'm not coming off no injury, so this offseason, I'm really going to focus on track and just running, sprinting, conditioning, things like that. Because I know college ball is no joke, in no way, shape, or form. So I just want to get my speed up, get my ability to move, enhance my ability to move even more, just to add on to my value, add on to my stock. And so, yes, sir, just going to attack the track really hard, just make sure I'm running and things like that and lifting as well. Because they're gonna put on weight on me when I get up there, but just make sure I'm just still just lifting, still just being at the weight I need to be at. So, yes, sir.
Sure. Definitely, man. That's all the time we got. A phenomenal young man from South Gwinnett, Jaden Holder, going to Navy University. Wish you nothing but the best. And thanks so much for coming on and telling your journey.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys, so much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, coming up here in just a moment, we should have on Benjamin Walker of Dogs 247. But while we wait for him, just want to ask you guys real quick, just what stood out the most of that interview? Seems like a great, sharp young man, obviously 4.0, going to a great university, and just a great place.
Well, one, I think he's battle-tested. You look at South Gwinnett, who'd they go up against every year? Grayson.
Played Valdosta this year.
Yeah, so, they're a really underrated team. Obviously, they're outstanding, but, underrated in terms of the level of talent on their team. They had a great defensive performance against Brookwood, one of the few teams to shut down that run game with Braden Tyson. Hard-hitting, physical, well-coached, and then his academics are outstanding, 4.0 student. And then the size that he brings to the table, 6'2", 200 pounds. He can add another 10 pounds, keep that speed up. He's going to be a real prospect.
For sure. Well, shout out again to Max for being able to put that together for us and having him on the show. But I think we have Benjamin Walker of Dogs 247, a name I know very well. What's going on, Ben? How's everything?
Najee, great to see you. Great to see the rest of you fellas as well.
Yes, sir. 100%, man. So, for you today, what is it like? I feel like Georgia's already got a lot of their guys signed, locked in and loaded. So what's today been like for you, kind of maybe a slower national signing day, maybe you're accustomed to in February?
Definitely adjusting to the calendars. I think what's going on here in Athens, there really isn't a whole lot on the scholarship recruiting front. There's still, what goes on with preferred walk-ons and those types of things. Some of that is still probably figuring itself out, and that today might not even be the final decision-making point on some of those types of things. But when it comes to Georgia's 2025 signing class, they really got everything figured out in December. Every single person that's currently in their 2025 recruiting class signed in December. I think all but about 3 or 4 of them have already enrolled early as well. So the calendar has changed in college football recruiting, and definitely the way that Georgia has handled it. They are full steam ahead on the 2026 class.
For sure. Let's talk about a late signing or just a late commitment I want to ask you about, Ben. That's Daniel Okonkwo from Hillgrove. How did that kind of get put together in that early signing window, and what made Georgia say, hey, we need to go get that guy?
Well, I think he's a great example of like, coaches are always watching the senior film, and sometimes you might not think that people are watching, but they definitely are, because he was someone that had great senior tape. He has a lot of the testing measurables that coaches start to fall in love with, and when Georgia got down to it, they were looking at their defensive back room, and they always like to add numbers late in the class, and I think that senior tape has played a role in a lot of guys over the years getting added late. I mean, a guy that comes to mind is Kyron Jones, who was playing running back, and he was about to go to North Carolina State as a running back, and he flips to Georgia late, and he still hasn't gotten a lot of run at Georgia, but he's someone that's been a major depth piece for them, and I think is going to play a role going into this next season. So I think when you look at these late ads that Georgia has, you always have to be really intrigued, because it does make you say, like, why did they go after this guy? What particularly did he show them? And so he's someone that I know the Georgia coaches are going to be really excited about.
Yeah, Ben, Georgia, it seems like over the years has been a receiver by committee type deal with Taylon Taylor and C.J. Wiley and Ethan Barber coming in. What can you say about this crop of receivers coming in?
Well, for starters, anybody who watched the 2024 season knows some of the conversation that there was around Georgia's receiving core and some of the drop issues that it experienced. And so it's not a news flash to anyone that James Coley, the new wide receivers coach who came in last March, was tasked with really flipping the talent in that room. I think he did an incredible job of that in the 2025 class. I mean, you just talk about the receiver position. You mentioned some of those guys right there. Taylon Taylor can kind of do it all at receiver, is sure-handed of a guy as you're going to find nationally. C.J. Wiley, incredible physical attributes, incredible speed measurables, productivity through the roof in the state of Georgia in the highest classification, multiple-time champion. Like, there's not any box that C.J. Wiley can't really check. I mean, you talk about a guy from South Georgia that probably doesn't get talked a lot about from Savannah, Thomas Blackshear, as tough as you're going to find at the wide receiver position. I mean, this was just Landon Roldan. I mean, speed on speed on speed. And so that's just at the receiver position. You throw in those tight ends, Ethan Barber, Elias Williams. I mean, Georgia changed what the outlook on their pass catchers are going to be over the next few years through this 2025 class.
Absolutely. And Ben, real quick, we're talking about how Georgia was able to enroll a lot of these guys early, solidify this class. It looks like rather than the approach where you're going to try to hit the transfer portal like Colorado's done, Ole Miss, some of these other schools, Georgia's in this state with so much talent. How important is it to be able to just really hit all corners of the state and build through the program like that and develop these incoming freshmen?
Well, there's no question that Kirby Smart is taking a high school recruiting and development approach sprinkled in with transfer portal gap-filling needs where you need it. And I think that that's a philosophy that he's not going to change on. I mean, on my show this week, I was talking with someone who brought up a statistic that 18 of the 22 starters in the national championship game were all high school recruits that were developed through the programs that they played, and all 10 players on the offensive line. So there are certain positions where it's just non-negotiable. You really need to build through high school recruiting, and I think that Georgia's definitely going to take that approach, and I don't even think it's stubborn to say that Kirby Smart is going to take that approach. Like, that is just what he believes in and how he's going to go about it. You know, I think it's smart to do when you live in a state like Georgia, and not everybody has the, benefits or luxury of being able to do it. Like, he's got a great staff in place. He has a great culture program in place where they can really survive off of that, and they don't have to worry about a lot of guys or too many guys transferring out of the program because they have enough people that want to hang around there, and they know that they've got the resources to be able to hold on to them as well. And so it's smart to build through high school recruiting. When you're in a state like Georgia, it's easy to do it because there's a lot of talent to go around. And I think you've seen even more and more. I mean, this last cycle, I think about 20 of the guys that Georgia signed are all from the Peach State. And I think it just goes to show how even more so than before, Georgia's emphasizing trying to retain Peach State talent.
And then, Ben, I want to ask you just a little bit about, obviously, this big battle that's going on. Obviously, we had a guest yesterday, Kaylee. She's a reporter for Dog Nation. But for you, who kind of has that edge currently right now, maybe between Ryan P. and obviously Gunnar Stockton? Or who you think is going to win that battle?
So, I mean, I guess I sort of think of those two as two different questions. Like, who has the edge? I think you got to give the edge to Gunnar Stockton because he has done it in the past. He was the guy that was quarterback 2 this year. He started the playoff game. Like, he has in-game experience even in garbage time that Ryan Puglisi just doesn't have. So I think he has the edge. He's going to get the lion's share of the first team reps, I would think, at the start of spring practice. Now, who do I think wins the job? I think is a different story, because I think there's so much to play out throughout the spring, and I am someone that is very high on Ryan Puglisi's upside. I think a lot of how Georgia will approach the quarterback position, one, will just be success during the spring. What do they look like? And then that battle likely will go into the fall. I don't think this is a decision that Kirby Smart's going to feel rushed into making. And so I think that he has plenty of time to make that decision, even going into August of this year. And so I think Ryan Puglisi has a real shot. I'm very high on him. I think that again, it depends how Georgia views their outlook of the 2025 season. I think that if Georgia sees this as a championship contending team, and there's no questions asked about that, like, Gunnar Stockton might be the safer pick because he's been around the program longer and you know what you're getting a little bit more assuredly than you do with Ryan Puglisi. But I think that there is a long-term benefit to maybe getting Ryan Puglisi in now, knowing that he would have a couple of years in the system. And I just think the ceiling for him is much higher than it is for anybody else currently on Georgia's roster.
For sure. All right, Ben, we do have to wrap, so I want you to make this super quick as we wrap up this segment. Just give me a name of a Georgia recruit that can make the instant impact.
It's lazy, but Elijah Griffin. Georgia's thin on the defensive line. He's the best defensive player in the country, in my opinion. And I think he's someone that is going to have to make a difference day one for Georgia.
All right. Well, Ben, thank you so much for coming on, talking about the Dogs. Coming up, we'll do Where in the State is the Coach, and be joined by Brett Greenberg of Alabama 247. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily for our National Signing Day special. We are an hour in, been a lot of fun, a lot of great guests. We just talked to Dogs 247, reporter, analyst, Benjamin Walk. Obviously, that was a lot of fun. Now we're going to talk about some most shocking flips, get back to that. Several ones all across the state of Georgia. Max, I'm going to start with you. I know you got a big one you want to talk about, so I'm going to give you the floor. Which ones out of these stand out to you?
Well, Najee, I'm going to actually throw it back to you after this, but Georgia Tech has made some noise by flipping some guys, whether it's Christian Garrett, whether it's Peyton Joseph, whether it's Jordan Woods. What would you say that impact is going to be next year on the point for Georgia Tech?
It's massive. When you look at, let's just talk about offensive line, right? They lose a lot of their guys. Jordan Williams is gone. They lose Weston Franklin, who was an all-ACC offensive player, right? So now they got to replace a lot of pieces in there, right? That has to come in and start for them. So you're giving this offensive line what obviously offensive line coach Jeep Wade, new talent to come in with guys that if they can physically get the system and they can able to perform, guys like Peyton Joseph could potentially play early, right? Obviously, Josh Petty has to get bigger and things like that, but he could potentially play early. So when you see this and you see the rise that the program is on, from that offensive line position, you feel really good about flipping him. Remember, he was committed to 4. He flipped actually 3 times. And what was so consistent in his recruitment, whenever you've seen him talk, he always had Georgia Tech as a top program for him, right? Initially Florida, Florida State, and then staying home. He was like, it just matters whether or not I want to stay home, right? And I think that's important because people from Houston County, Peach County area can come up and see him every single Saturday with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, multi-year starter, one of the best linemen in the state for sure. And I don't have the exact numbers, but we've been doing signing day for a while. Tech used to be like number 40 in the nation for team rankings, 50th. Now they're consistently top 20, and then you add the flips right now. All Georgia, like guys from the state of Georgia, big names. Christian Garrett also flipped. The Prince Avenue Christian, big lineman. This is huge because once they are in this top 20, they're getting relationships with these top programs within the state. It's only going to continue to build, and the instant impact that these big-time recruits are going to have and the opportunity for them, it's absolutely massive. You have Josh Petty, another guy that stayed with Georgia Tech the entire time. So I think they've got some of the best pieces they've had all coming in within this class. I think it's one of the best they've ever had.
Yeah, 100% agree. Top, obviously, class for them. You look at Tay Harris. You talked about Dalen Pitts is an underrated pick who I think could be special for them early on in his collegiate career. Made a lot of headway in, obviously, the practices that he had in the All-Star game. So I think he's going to be, obviously, a great contributor as well.
Yeah, and then a guy actually that just committed yesterday, Nicholas Mathis, played in Georgia League Classic, the Hillgrove defensive lineman. I'm so happy he got his opportunity. He's going to Wofford, officially going to sign. And we've seen Hillgrove. It looks like that was a team with a lot of their talent this year that didn't get on the college radar until late in the season once people saw their results, beating McEachern, nearly winning that region, making a run, having one of the better seasons. Guys like Nicholas Mathis getting their opportunity. So a great recruiting class overall for Hillgrove, another program on the rise.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, underrated, obviously, year they had. I think they won 9+ games this year for the Hillgrove Hawks. Just a testament of, sometimes when you have that success, college coaches start calling and coming to see your program. So I think definitely now after this year, you're seeing Daniel Okonkwo, you obviously talk about Nick Matthews. I think going forward, they're going to have more of a coach's eye, especially with kind of the rebuild of the program.
And then we had Tommy Lafayette, a great running back on the show. Another one, Lanier's Twan Payton. We actually had him in the studio. A great prospect. He's going to Georgia State. Some of the results he put up this year, the big game against Roswell, what do you have, like 400
yards? Set a record, set a county school record. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a big flip also for Georgia State. Being able to see a guy that they can aggressively go out and welcome in, a guy that had other opportunities but really feels like Georgia State's going to be rolling it out for him.
Yeah, for sure. He's actually committed to Memphis before he actually decommitted and flipped. So that was obviously interesting and kept it under wraps that whole time until he revealed it on the show. So that was a shock to many. But like you said, can come in and be a contributor. And Coach McGee is starting to have those in-state wins, with some of these programs and be able to kind of restructure that program as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, another guy that I think is just going to make a big name for himself in college, and he flipped from Cincinnati to Ohio State, and that's Jordan Woods.
Yes.
He's just a big-time corner. He's at 6'3". He's a big corner, really big for college standards, really mostly. But I just think he's a guy that can come in there and make a difference, and he's a guy that I don't know, you have the Caleb Downs and Denzel Burke there now, and Marshawn Lattimore and Denzel Ward there before. Exactly. And I just think he'll be another one of those Ohio State guys in the secondary that can make a play.
He's going to be interesting because he was committed to Cincinnati for so long, and then Ohio State comes with that obviously major offer, and he's like, hey, let me go here. But when you look at Ohio State and what they can produce at that DB spot, I mean, I know he's kind of towards the latter end of his career, Marshawn Lattimore, but he was great up there, you know? And they produced DB as well as receiver at a really high level, so I thought, hey, I can go be developed, and I can go to the next level. No disrespect to Cincinnati. They obviously produced Sauce Gardner, who's an all-pro and a phenomenal player. But when you look at Ohio State and that track record, it makes a lot of sense. And he could potentially play early.
I agree.
Absolutely. And then another guy that had the rare 3 different flips, Shamar No from Carrollton, USC, Auburn to Florida State. How do you quantify Florida State being able to come in after a guy is already flipped and still being able to get him to flip one more time? I mean, how do you think they pulled that off?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, it's really underrated when you look at Florida State and the flips they did. We talked about Usman Kromar earlier. They just went under the radar. Like, this one was kind of a really big shocker, as you mentioned, Craig. I just think the relationship, him not being that far, obviously, from Florida State up here in Carrollton, and just continue to recruit him despite him being committed. And obviously went down there for a visit, enjoyed the visit there, and said, hey, man, like, we're rebuilding our team. We lost a lot of seniors the year before. Hey, you could potentially come in and play early, you know, if you come to Florida State.
And then you followed Jonesboro really closely this season. Jeremiah Tickett flips from Toledo to Georgia Southern. Talk about a program that was maybe underrated this season with that Jonesboro defense.
Facts. We talked about it a little while ago, obviously, Craig. When they went up against BT, who was obviously a state title contender this year, came up a little bit short than North Oconee, but 22 points. Remember, they had to hit 5 field goals by Noah Gohard just to be able to win that game. So when you look at him and what he was able to do, I was so impressed with his game against Stars Mill because they used him in so many ways. He was being a sniffer. He was taking wildcat snaps for a game-winning touchdown. He was plugging that box. And remember, they run a wing T offense at Stars Mill. So it's consistently, hey, you have to be disciplined the entire time and make sure that you're following the right gap, whether they're going outside or whether they're going inside. And I was so impressed with how he was able to play in that game. And I think Georgia Southern, as they continue to build their program, is getting a really underrated but a really special guy.
No doubt. And yeah, that touchdown he had was pretty awesome, one of the highlights of the season.
100%. Well, guys, I think it's going to conclude this segment for Flips. We're going to have more on that a little bit later, but I believe we have Brett Greenberg ready to go from Alabama 247. My guy, Brett, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? Always good to see those three. I always say it every time I'm on here, but what a desk. What a desk.
Gotta love having Brett on the show, man. Might have to make you a regular here, man, when we talk about Alabama and the recruiting and everything. But we talked about, obviously, with Ben, just it being kind of a slower process. Obviously, with Bama signing most of their guys in December. So I won't ask you that again, but from this class, we know some guys out there, and I'm going to throw some names. Luke Metz, Daryl Duke Johnson, Marshall Pritchett. Which of the guys from Georgia do you believe can have an instant impact that year one with, obviously, the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, for starters, it's a great trio of guys that you're bringing in at different, linebacker was a big need for Alabama, and you bring in Luke Metz and Daryl Johnson, who visited in the spring, commit to Alabama, I believe, in April, and then don't go anywhere else and lock in. So you see that's kind of rare these days. So those are two guys that absolutely love Alabama, but I think it's Marshall Pritchett if I had to pick of who's going to make an impact, and I think that's just purely based off numbers wise, and you look at this roster outlook going into spring, 6'6", 220 pounds, has the frame to go up to 240, can play inline, can play outside, can kind of take the top off the defense as well. And, I've talked with him multiple times. He has that mentality to, nothing's given, everything's earned. And I'm excited to see kind of him progress. And as well as Luke Metz and Daryl Johnson as well. Those are guys maybe you won't see maybe make an impact immediately on the defense, but guys that are great athletes and two-way athletes for their respective high schools in Georgia who are kind of racking up the stats every single Friday night. Those are guys that maybe you see contribute on special teams.
Let's talk about Luke Metz a little bit, Brett. I was at the game with you, a defensive game between Collins Hill and obviously Mill Creek. Talk about that game. What impressed you most about Luke Metz, who was used in a multitude of ways in that one, offensively and defensively?
Yeah, I think you kind of said it right there. It's the way he was able to be used so many different ways. And in this day and age, and certainly in this Alabama defensive scheme, they ask a lot of these linebackers, sideline to sideline, come up to the line of scrimmage and rush the passer, go out in coverage. So he kind of has it all, and you kind of saw that on display there. And not a high-scoring game like you said, but he kind of showed his athleticism. And one thing I always kind of talk about when I'm mentioning Luke Metz, and one thing I always like to bring up is just kind of in between the ears with him. Every time you talk with him, he was kind of that captain of the Mill Creek defense, who was a very, very good program. Caleb Downs was over there. He got the chance to play with Caleb Downs for a couple years, learn from him. He's talked about that as well. So I think, again, he's a guy that maybe Alabama fans see maybe a little bit down the road in his career and potentially be that kind of green dot head of communication for the defense down the road.
Yeah, and Brett, Alabama had some big news over the weekend, hiring Ryan Grubb. He just got fired from the Seahawks, but was with DeBoer in Washington when they went to the national championship with Michael Penix. What do you think Grubb's hiring has or what kind of impact do you think that hire will have on the Alabama offense next season?
Yeah, I think it's, the hires, it's going to have an impact for a multitude of different ways. For starters, it's, I keep hearing this, I keep bringing it up, I brought on the radio yesterday. It's like you play 2-on-2 basketball with your brother for so long, and then, you go with another teammate and it's not working. Then, you bring him back and you're doing the behind the scene passes and the no looks and things like that. That's kind of how it's been described to me with how Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan are going to be in that Mount Moore practice facility, kind of drawing up plays again. It's going to be no transition period, which I think is a very underrated part of this. These guys are very good friends. They know what's successful. They know what's worked. And another thing, you talk with analysts out there, this is very good for guys like Austin Mack, guys for Keelan Russell, and I see this offense being a whole lot better in 2025 and in the future. And then obviously you got the recruiting aspect of it as well. And, maybe sometimes you have your offensive coordinator that, maybe doesn't want to go out on the road as much. But I remember Ryan Grubb, his brief stop in Tuscaloosa last January. He was all over the road, and everything you hear, he's, going to go find his quarterback that he wants. He's going to develop that relationship. And I know there's not a lot of offers out for 2026 for Alabama, but that should get going soon. And, there's a lot of excitement inside the building, outside the building, and high schools out in Georgia. Just the excitement of Ryan Grubb and potential there.
Let's talk about that. You obviously just mentioned it, Brett, but that QB battle between Austin Mack, Ty Simpson, and obviously Keelan Russell. So first time, I think in 2 years, Bama has had a new signal caller at the QB spot. So just what's your thoughts on that battle? Obviously going to be very important in the spring. You talked about Grubbs obviously wanting to get his guy. What do you think is going to be some key factors there?
Yeah, I think, you brought up his guy there, and, a lot of Alabama fans do know this, but I don't know if everybody does. Last cycle when Kalen DeBoer comes in, he kind of moves Julian Sayin aside, that five-star who's up in Ohio State now, to be kind of that presumed starter over there, and brings in Austin Mack from Washington. This was a guy that they convinced to reclassify. Ryan Grubb convinced him to reclassify to come to Washington a year early. So obviously, Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, there's a lot to like with Austin Mack. You got Ty Simpson, the veteran, who hasn't played a whole lot, but he figures to maybe get those first-team reps in spring. And then you've got the number 2 overall player in the country, and Keelan Russell coming in. So that's certainly going to dominate the spring headlines over in Tuscaloosa, and it's sure, and rightfully so. And it's going to be exciting to follow.
And Brett, this is year 2 with this coaching staff in place. They obviously were able to learn a lot from last year's group. Where do you see them really hitting hard in terms of a position, or maybe a group that they're really trying to improve this season?
Yeah, I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit here, but it's in the trenches. You've got so much talent up on the offensive line and in the defensive line, but there hasn't been a whole lot of production. You've got a whole lot of production coming back from the 2024 defense. I think it's 8 or 9 starters all coming back. So there's a lot to look forward to on that defense, but you're kind of saying, hey, who's that pass rusher going to be? So this spring, I think a lot of those questions are going to be answered. And those that aren't, you've got that transfer portal window in April as well to maybe go and get some more added depth.
Yeah, Brett, everyone knows the top guys in Alabama's class this year with Keelan Russell and Michael Carroll and Dejoun Lee, but who are some guys you really think just have you excited that may seem underrated to everybody else?
Yeah, it's a guy that, I always bring up. It's London Simmons out of Flowood, Mississippi, 6'3", kind of 300 pounds, lost 50 pounds going into his senior year of his high school football season, which I think is impressive in its own right. Just being that at that age, having the discipline to do that. He's been described to me as kind of that stump in the middle Not a lot of those across the country. We've seen guys like Justice Terry be highly sought after for so long. There's guys like that just everybody wants him. There's not a lot of them. And I think, he's a 3-star, but he's a guy that is going to continue to grow, loves Alabama, committed there kind of on the spot during his official visit. I think could potentially be, an impact player down the road.
Brett, I want to ask you, obviously, a question that's on fans' minds when we talk about Alabama and in the program. A lot of people weren't super thrilled about the season they had, even though they won 9 games and like the ending against Michigan. So tell me, in your eyes, Brett, what does Alabama need, or what do they need to do in order to get back to that championship level and being able to play on bigger national stages like the college football playoff and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, but it's truly find your quarterback and just get it going. There's no reason for for anyone to expect that this offensive staff, like I've talked about, is not going to have success immediately. You've got the guys. You came in. You've got your running backs. You bring Isaiah Horton in from Miami to be that kind of big guy receiver for you alongside Ryan Williams. Bring Jeremy Bernard back. The offensive line looks pretty good. There's some question marks, in terms of who's going to start, but you find that quarterback piece, and I think there's all signs to this Alabama team kind of going back to its, to the college football playoff and being in that top 12 and, playing for national championships, like you said.
For sure, Brett. Well, as always good to see you, man. One of the most welcome guests here on the show, man. I'm sure we'll chat soon and catch up with Alabama. Appreciate all that you do, man, and coming on the show.
See you guys.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, there was Brett Greenberg. Coming up, we will have an interview with Jalen Carter of Lowndes to talk about him committing to Southern Miss. So don't go anywhere. Come right back here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
For a healthier future together, look to Northside Hospital.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision, our team brings it to life.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager. Got Hayden Gilbert back for the second hour before we bring on Jalen Carter. I want to ask both of you guys just to kind of talk a little bit about the season that Lowndes just had. I feel like they're trending in the right direction. They won the Wintersville Classic against their rival, Valdosta. Coach Adam Carter, we know what he's been able to do. Won a state championship with Grayson. Looks like that program's heading in the right direction.
Certainly. So Coach Carter went down there last year. Gosh, who was the quarterback that they replaced? And I can't.
Ja'Cory Brown.
Yeah, Ja'Cory Brown. So he was a multi-year starter, really just a special, unique talent. This year, though, I really liked just both sides of the ball, the way they were able to compete in that region. I thought they made a case that they were the best team out of South Georgia this year. It was a very even run, but certainly this upcoming season, I think that foundation is back, and it's going to be a great rivalry.
Now, I want to ask you, Hayden, quarterback you're very high on. Jace Johnson down there with the Vikings. He's getting a lot of buzz out there in South Georgia. Talk about that.
I think when you look at these 2027 quarterbacks, he's probably the most physically gifted. You look at the other two that you really look at are Tay Gerard, Kareem Hughley. Tay Gerard's more of a pocket passing quarterback. Really talented, about the same size, somewhere around 6'3", close to 200 pounds. And then Kareem, you look at him, you're like, this is a really talented guy, but he's a bit smaller. He doesn't have that huge ceiling that I think that Jace Johnson has at that 6'4" frame, 200-something pounds.
That's a good point. I think we do have Jalen Carter ready to go, so let's talk to him a little about, obviously, his quarterback. Obviously has the shirt on, committed to Southern Miss. Congratulations on your commitment, Jalen.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you coming on, man. So for those that don't know about this Lowndes program, walk us through, man, what it's like, playing in South Georgia and being a part of this great program with Adam Carter and being down there.
So I've pretty much grown up and raised in Lowndes, but also, as you want to say, it's pretty special to me because, like growing up and being a kid that's always been like at every game, you know what I'm saying? Like every game, and just having like a big pride on like the culture, essentially, because South Georgia football culture is everything, and that's all we care about, to be honest. We don't have like no NFL, NBA team. We have literally Lowndes or Valdosta or VSU. So I feel like it's a big like pride thing, and it's just like playing for what you grow up and what you know, essentially. And Coach Carter came in and, he instilled that into us, and he made sure that they know that this culture is like gonna stay here, that nothing was gonna change. He even brought back throwback jerseys this year. So it's been pretty exciting.
Speaking of culture, just talk about what makes that rivalry, the Wintersville Classic, just so special. You play in it, you've been a part of it all, I'm sure, your 4 years of being there at Lowndes. What makes that rivalry so special and a can't-miss event here in the state of Georgia?
So the rivalry is like really special to me in many ways because not only have I played in it, my dad's played in it, my cousins are played in it. I have two cousins that went to Valdosta, Jace Rogers and Todd Bradley Glenn, and they played in it, and they played pretty big roles in the game. And, just being on the other side, because everybody went to Valdosta besides my cousin Keelan, playing linebacker here, it's deep. Like, I remember, like, being as a kid, like, one of Winterville's games has been on my birthday, and I remember, like, as a kid, like, my cousins and aunties telling me, Jalen, you gonna lose on your birthday, man. And, that's like the worst feeling. You end up losing, you're like crying and stuff as a kid. That's not good, and it's your birthday. So it's pretty great. This year we changed it around. Our senior class was well bonded, and the number one thing on the goal sheet was to beat that team and improve our year. And I feel like we did that. We went beyond that in many ways.
And before I throw it to my co-host, I wanted to just ask you about that improved year. 836 yards receiving this year, over 50 catches, a lot of touchdowns. Just talk about just how you were able to improve so much this year and the chemistry that you have with the quarterback, Jace Johnson, down there.
So just me being able to improve this year has been, like, I would say more of a push on myself because, like, I'm not going to say, like, I wasn't pushing myself hard because I work pretty hard and I do everything I need to do. But I felt like we were trying to make a change in like our offense. So we had Marvis at quarterback. So we switched Marvis to like an athlete role, and I had Jace. And Jace obviously has been pretty young, but he was already known like recruiting wise. So I think that like building up his confidence was like a very, very big key So me and Jace actually, from the start of like February, me and Jace literally lived in indoor, like before school at like 6 in the morning to after school to like 5:36. Plenty of times Coach Carter came in there and actually kicked us out because like we were there too long and other people were like coming in and stuff and they're like, you can't be here. Like that's probably happened to us like more than 10 times. Like we literally lived and breathed of doing that. Like me and Jace, all the passes that we threw in this season, we probably thrown in the off season and just like in the season in general, probably more than like 1,000,000 times because we worked out so much. And I try to make sure that he understands like, he has to be more free. He has to feel confident in his play. And, trust us, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be in the right position and we're going to do stuff to help him. And he's going to do stuff to help us in many ways. So I feel like that was pretty big and just pushing myself because I'm not going to say I wasn't fast or anything, but I wanted to get faster. I want to be able to just run past guys because, watching like Tyreek Hill and stuff, like it's pretty cool to do. And I feel like my hands – like catching more in traffic, which I did kind of my junior season, but I wanted to do a little bit better. So I set pretty high goals up for myself. So it was just a great year to go and achieve those things. And, our coaches believed in us like a lot. Our coaches believed in us a lot. And it's just all around trust with everybody in the building, I would say.
And obviously, growing up, you would visualize yourself playing in these big games, going up against Valdosta in that historic rivalry. But you're out there this season. The atmosphere is huge. It's electric. How do you think that's prepared you just to be able to handle the pressure in college?
I would say, so me coming to Southern Miss has I feel like it's been like one of the easiest decisions outside of just like the coaches because the coaches were like the biggest thing to me, like having that relationship. At Lowndes, like playing in front of 10,000 and I'm playing on a good, like not even just the rivalry game. You're playing in front of like thousands of people. So multiplying that like on the level of college, I feel like it's the same because the culture of Southern Miss and like the football there is like it's South football. South football. So like I feel like it's the same. So going from high school to where I play, where everybody in the town is going to the games on Friday nights, everybody in Hattiesburg is going to be probably going to the games on Saturdays. I feel like everything, like the community is very like around the sports that goes on in the town. So I feel like that was a great thing for me to like try to commit to and just like something I should just keep going that's consistent in my life and just stay where I'm at with like having a good like community-based feeling.
And then walk us through just the end of this season. You don't have your destination exactly planned out yet, but then to be able to hit January, get the relationship with the coach, and then do you feel like it was something where just you had trust in the process that it was going to work out for you in the end?
So I would say I have a great relationship with Coach Huff and Coach Lockett at Southern Miss now, but like just I feel like relationships now in college football are like the like forefront of everything. Like that's very important. And like I had very, very strong trust in them to, put me in the places I wanted to go, and just talking to them like number of times over the phone and having our conversations in person and stuff. Like I feel like that was where I needed to be. I needed to be around people that were going to push me in certain ways and just, put great things on my mind and, like have God involved in what I do. And, you know what I'm saying? Like just push me in ways I can't even describe. And I feel like that was happening just with me just talking to them on visits or them calling or whatever. And I just felt like that was home.
Yeah, and then talk to me about when you went down there, was it just did you just automatically know? Was it just, did you go into Hattiesburg and just know that this is where you wanted to be and where you wanted to play your college football?
I would say I knew right about maybe the night I got there. The night I got there, oh, I'm so mad. Okay, yeah. but right about the night that I got there, I pretty much knew I was there. I mean, there were so many familiar faces that I knew that were there, and like it just felt really like real. Like the relationships real, the people are real. Hattiesburg is a special place. Like when we were going around the town, it looked exactly like Lowndes down here. It looked like Valdosta. So it's like very, very essential to me just staying at home and being community based.
And then I think you mentioned Tyreek Hill earlier. So obviously you like to model your game against some people. When you're watching yourself on film, what's a part of your game where you can see like, okay, I'm doing this right. This is a strength of mine. What do you like about your game?
I would say if I'm going non-physical here, I think like my ability to know like X's and O's, I would say I'm like Luke Kuechly on offense. Like I know pretty much what the defense is going to do. I could tell you a coverage. I could tell you what they're in. I could tell you why they're doing what they're doing. I could tell you stunts, coverages, fronts, everything. But if I'm going physical, I would say my ball tracking ability. That's something that I've worked on like more than a million times. Like it's just something I love to do. Like I literally, matter of fact, I got a football in the back of my car. I literally sit here and throw it from like right here and just catch it like all the time. That's something that's very important to me. And just knowing how to catch the ball in general, like, because I've been playing receiver since I was like maybe 7, 8 years old. And like I would say my notable, like, it would be like Odell. That's my favorite player. So I do a lot of stuff that he does. And then just Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, guys from like LSU. That's like stuff that I like. And I don't know, I'm like a film junkie. So like I watch film probably more than coaches. Like sometimes some games, like I was already on, like we would just finish the game Friday and I'll already be talking about the next team on Saturday. Like there was no rest to what I do. I love what I do, and I love film and I love playbooks, and that's actually something I want to do. I want to be a coach. So
talk about just peeling away from those special guys you just mentioned, right? Obviously Jamar Chase, not the biggest guy in terms of height, but very physical. Used to play running back. Obviously a phenomenal player for the Bengals. Just had his gloves and his cleats, obviously shrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Triple Crown winner, obviously Justin Jefferson, route runner supreme. You know what I'm saying? Also another elite guy, all-pro guy. What about their games just stands out to you?
I would say Justin Jefferson, his ability to like get in and out breaks. He's pretty fast as soon as he gets out of his break, and his hands are like really, really good. Jamar Chase is physical, and I really like that. Like he's smooth. He's really, really smooth, and that's something that I really, really like. Another guy I like is Devontae Adams. His route running is unbelievable. Before a game, I probably watch like the week, like week 13, week 12, best routes, and I love watching stuff like that before the game. That's a lot of stuff that I try to like model my game after. Odell, obviously, I watch his highlights all the time. I probably have like 5 videos saved of his highlights. It's unbelievable.
For sure.
My cousin Greg Reed, I watch his little punt return and his highlights. Lemonade by Gucci Mane. That's the only reason why I know that song is because of his highlight reel. And I try to model my game after so many people because, like, you can only, like, you're only as great as what you attempt to do. Like, you got to go achieve certain things, and, like, you're not going to know everything. So you need to, like, learn and soak in as much as you can is what, like, I try to tell the guys after me because, like, as coming in at 9th grade, 10th grade, like I wasn't the best guy, but learning from the seniors and the people ahead of me taught me a lot to be where I am now.
And then obviously you said you knew that night that you got there that you were going to be going to Southern Miss. You felt comfortable, felt like home. But talk about the relationship you built with Desmond Lindsley, who's obviously the wide receiver coach there.
So actually, we have Coach Dobson that's from So the Marshall staff is actually, some of the Marshall staff is actually out there. So Coach Dobson and Coach Lockett and Coach Huff, those are the guys that basically recruited me, essentially. So my relationship with them, I met them in the summer, and this past summer, I was doing a camp, the Mercer camp actually. I had a lot of schools that needed to see me in person, and Coach Huff actually Coach Huff might just be the funniest coach I've ever met in my life. He pulled me to the side after I ran a route, which this camp, Mercer camp, is a great camp, and we played against a lot of good talent or whatever. But I think the rep that after he pulled me was against a couple like JUCO guys or something like that. And me and my teammate Aiden Sifa, who signed to West Georgia, we won the rep. And he pulled me to the side, and he was like, he said, that was a good route. He said, what did you do to get open? I said, I dipped my shoulder and I stacked, and then I broke off. I had a post route. And he asked me where Marshall was, which I was originally committed to Marshall. And, the connection with him, the relationship, that's why I flipped to Southern Miss to follow him. And he asked me where Marshall was, and I said the DMV because I literally have no clue where Marshall is. And he said, no, that's not where it is. I was like, I knew it was in Virginia, though. But he was like, no, not that Virginia. And he kept asking me, like, just simple questions. He was like, do you know where your house is? And I was like, obviously, I know where my house is. What type of question is this? And then I thought to myself, I was like, I know where my home about to be. And he liked it. He was like, yeah. And he offered me after the camp. And so that just talking to him and Coach Lockett and Coach Dobson has been like one of the craziest roller coasters of my life, and it's been pretty fun, and I love those guys, and it's been an adventure.
100%. Well, Jalen, we say thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit about your story. Incredible year and career at Lowndes. Wish you nothing but the best at Southern Miss.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, Jalen Carter. Coming up, we will have a social update and talk about the latest recruits that will be coming on the show. So don't go anywhere. Come right back for Hour 3 on the Peachtree Sports Network. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily, our signing day special, hour 3 of a 3-hour special. Remember, you can watch it on the News First app. You can stream it there, also on the CBS Sports local streaming app, Zeem, and you can watch it on YouTube TV via Peachtree Sports Network. Craig, are you tired yet?
No, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Hour 3, got some good guests. We got some analytics to kind of examine from this year's signing class. A big thing I always like to watch is which county is producing the most signees. Obviously, Gwinnett's always big each year. Cobb's had its years where it's at the top, but you see in the graph we're going to pull up in a second, right now we have, looks like, is that 327 total entries?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Total.
My vision still works. All right. So you see right there at the top right now, you see Fulton County's got a lead. So what this list is, these are probably 327 of the highest rated recruits. Obviously, we got to continue filling it out. This list is typically about 1,000 guys each year. Fulton is closing in above 40 right now. It's like 41. Gwinnett just one behind them. Typically, you'll see over 100. You'll see triple digits for both those counties. But I think Fulton leading is kind of indicative of what we saw this year, just the way Milton was playing. Cambridge coming to the scene. You got Creekside and Fulton, Hughes as well. But it's been a big year for Fulton and really both sides of that county.
No, 100%. I mean, we've seen a Fulton County state championship in 5A, as you just alluded to, Craig, with Milton and obviously Hughes. Both programs doing a phenomenal job of getting guys to come in and developing them that can be understated. Creekside obviously does a great job out there in Fairburn. Coach Dixon, who will have one of his players here in just a little bit. But yeah, I think it's interesting. You see, kind of like you said, the turn of the tide. Gwinnett's always the top one when we look at counties as a top team up there, or top county, I should say, that's up there. But seeing Fulton, Gwinnett, Cobb, always being able to produce talent, I think says a lot.
Yeah, and it's no surprise. 1 in 10 kids in the state of Georgia goes to a Gwinnett County school. That's how big that school district is. It's one of the biggest in the country. We have another graph up on which school it has the most signees. Let's see if we can pull that one up real quick. So right now you see Buford up there. That is, I believe, 13. And then we have a tweet from Collins Hill, so this will inflate the total for Gwinnett. They point out that they have 14 seniors today signing to play at the collegiate level. This is their 3rd highest signing day class in Collins Hill history, and they did the math. Their scholarship offers amount to over $1 million. So that is a great job for what Coach Swake is doing at Collins Hill, not only putting a great product on the field, but keeping these kids in the classroom, getting their grades right so they have that opportunity to play once the college attention comes.
Such a good point, Craig. I mean, we talk about a program with Collins Hill after they won that state championship. Travis Hunter left, Sam Horn left, kind of in a little bit of a flux there. Obviously, Coach Gregory was still there, but ended up leaving for a new job. And then he has to come in and inherit the program. And a lot of people were surprised that year 1 they went on the road and beat North Cobb. Then this year they followed up and they shocked the eventual state champion Grayson in week 1. So doing a great job. And it's not easy because you're a new coach. Some kids want to leave. Hey, I don't know the direction our program is going. But to see what he's producing and a lot of very underrated guys, but that can be key contributors at the next level, I think says a lot about what he's doing there at Collins Hill.
Yeah, the only team to beat Grayson last year. And so they have a bunch of different guys. I mean, Fort Valley State, Point, Southern University. So even though, I mean, this year they didn't have the Travis Hunters, they didn't have the Sam Horns, but just the overall depth in this last senior class, pretty incredible. So shout out to Collins Hill. They might get the title this year if anyone else is able to get more than 14, but certainly a great accomplishment for them.
100%. Now we're going to bring on Phoenix here in just a second, but I just want to point out one more graphic that we have, and I just want to talk about the conferences that that are dominating the way. And surprisingly, it's the ACC this year that is dominating with 66% out of 256 entries, and then 18.75 the SEC, and a surprise team. Craig, American Athletic 11.33. Usually you see a Big 10, Big 12 in that category. But obviously ACC leading the way. I feel like it's kind of a slept-on conference. Obviously, SEC is great. Big 10 is won the last 2 national championships in college football. But what's your thoughts of the ACC recruiting really hard here in the state?
Yeah, no, it's definitely noticeable. So we've seen in, like, you go to 247 on 3, the top 200 guys. I mentioned it to you yesterday. Normally, I would see more Ole Miss guys or more Mississippi State. We've seen, obviously, Florida's done well. Tennessee's got a great group. But I feel like some of those other SEC schools Like Arkansas, we haven't seen as many, whereas on the ACC side, I mean, Tech is killing it within the state.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina, obviously, probably the biggest Georgia haul they've had in a while, and then Florida State, obviously, a great job they've done.
Do you feel like that's like the changing of the guard, though, Craig, a little bit? Because like you just alluded to, the Ole Misses of the world, the Mississippi States of the world, a lot of these programs are in the SEC. Maybe they're going more after the portal instead of getting guys, coming from high school.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Ole Miss looked at it and they're Georgia. There's a lot of talent there, right there, but it's so competitive. We can't pull some of these guys from Georgia, so from the University of Georgia, they seem to have that homegrown favorability. So maybe that's part of the strategy, knowing that, hey, instead of trying to tug some of these guys away from Georgia, we're going to go through the the transfer portal.
And are you surprised at all? Kind of an underrated team, but we know they obviously have great, prospects. Elias Williams, who's going to Georgia, Jeff Hardy, but Camden County was top of that list too, right behind Buford. Are you surprised they had so many players going on to the next level?
Yeah, well, that's pretty incredible. So what were they at? They're closing on double digits also?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certainly got some of the best prospects. I thought Camden County was a great team leading the way. But that's kind of what happens when you have a guy like Elias Williams. Some of the other incredible, talented players on the team go overlooked.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. And obviously, Camden County has been doing their thing and has been incredible. I know we're going to have Phoenix here in just a second, but Craig, you've been following. I know Coach Dixon is one of the kind of your favorite guys that you have enjoyed to kind of follow. Just talk a little bit about that Creekside program and what he's building there with his talent being able to play at the next level.
Yeah, Creekside's such a special program. I don't know if any group just wears their logo like they do. They have so much pride in playing for that program. And then I thought what was cool about the team this year, they had that cross-country trip playing DeSoto over in Texas, and they lost that game. They had a slow start with these two out-of-state competitions. Then they come back in the state, and they looked mid-season form right away. So as soon as they had that long road trip just to test themselves, go out there knowing that game wasn't going to define their season, but then to come back and make the run they did. I think Creekside had a phenomenal season and couldn't be more supportive of how Coach Dixon runs that program.
Craig, can you talk just a little bit about that, just always playing out of state? Sometimes, people are like, well, why are they going all the way out there? They question them a little bit. They fall in the rankings early in the season. Year before, obviously, you mentioned about DeSoto. They played Mater Dei, got blown out, ended up making the state championship that same season. So for you, do you feel like those cross-country trips is worth it?
Yeah, I think it obviously is. So, I mean, if you look at the score of that game, what was it, 72-0 maybe?
I think
something like that. You look at the stats, it was not that lopsided. And obviously, the scoreboard reflected it. It's just a situation where the team builds a lead. You're trying to still figure things out. They're already kind of in their groove, and they're just going to run up the scoreboard. People were like, oh, well, how good's Creekside? And then immediately they come in the state. I don't think they allowed a touchdown in like 6 straight games. We're shutting teams out and returning the favor, blowing teams out by 50 points. So I feel like that game obviously humbled them, but no doubt about it, they walked away from it knowing that it was way closer than the scoreboard showed.
Any program you think, Craig, underrated or just you surprised to have so many, recruits maybe playing on to the next level that you was like, wow, like, the season they had, all these recruits, that's kind of surprised you?
Ooh, in terms of a surprise, let's see. Well, I think next year I'm really interested in how many prospects Douglas County is going to have. That's going to be a team that I think is going to be leading the way. I feel like this year we saw Fulton doing really well, but to me, Cobb County had a much better season with the rise of Hillgrove and then what Harrison's been able to do. They're becoming way more evenly matched. It's going to be kind of a 3-team race with them and McEacher next year. I feel like they've matched them in terms of the talent. So I think Cobb County got a little more depth this year, and that is a product of them having exceptional talent that's able to go on to the next level.
To your point, Craig, I agree. I think North Cobb is going to be a very just interesting place to watch as well, as far as a team. I think Cobb County in general is going to be very interesting. When you look at, obviously, I just mentioned North Cobb. You obviously have North Cobb Christian. It'll be a really good program to continue to watch. Walton, I think, will be very improved this upcoming season. I think Marietta will be a lot better and more competitive under Coach Cameron Duke. So I think Cobb County is going to have a lot to say when we look at kind of 6A, 5A, and the other classifications, even private, and have a lot more to say, when that happens.
Yep. And then let's go to the graph by position real quick. Obviously, a lot of great quarterbacks were in this class. We talked about some of the defensive linemen, offensive linemen, but you see linebackers right there. Out of 327 entries, leading the way, great linebacker class. Out of the state of Georgia, wide receiver, another prominent position. I think that's an interesting thing when we're just talking about Georgia, how it's been just a common knowledge just based off last season, some of the drops that the University of Georgia hasn't had the depth they wanted at the receiver position. This year had so much talent, whether it was Travis Smith, C.J. Wiley, Landon Roldan coming to the scene. I think the receivers this year, Blackshear from Calvary Day, really deep receiver class. And these guys I feel like they're specializing in their skill sets. They understand that being a receiver now, it's not just about being a 6'4" guy in the red zone. I mean, you can really maximize your skill set and bring something to the table that these college coaches are able to look at what you can do and formulate the plays around you.
100%. We'll talk more about that obviously later. There's a couple things right now I want to talk to you about, Craig. But I think we have Phoenix Harper ready to go, so let's go ahead and bring him on. What's going on, man? How's everything, Phoenix?
What's up? What's up? It's good.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you on, man. A really good season for you at Creekside, man. Just talk about, for you, man, being ready when your opportunity came, man, and getting that phone call and say, hey, man, we want your service. We want you to come play for us.
Man, it was a blessing. It was one thing, one opportunity. It came like just fast. Working over the summer, getting to this position now, it was like just a blessing. I can't even explain. It's a lot of words, a lot of thoughts, but I'm blessed. I'm happy, ready to join the Ramley. Work and better things and more, and get to where I got to go.
And then just talk about, man, going to go play for HBCU, man. Just keeping everything together and being able to, be on that platform and being able to showcase your talent on that level.
Yes, sir. On every level, it don't even matter about just HBCU. It don't matter even if I didn't go to HBCU, I was gonna show the talent regardless, because that's where I belong. I put in the work. I fight. My work is just like it's crazy. But being on the HBCU level is a blessing. My brother came from Alcorn State, so I just felt like the follow the route was a blessing. All the people that he traveled down to me. They gave me an opportunity, and just seeing it from like as a kid and experienced it was like, hey, I like it. It was better than I thought. So I took the talents to Albany State and just took it from there.
Yes, sir. And then just talk about the work that you put in, man. I mean, I've been to Creekside a few times. You guys run a great program over there with Coach Dixon. He expects the DBs to be very physical, but also have elite ball skills. So just talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So, normally, like, we would do, 6 in the morning workouts, getting ready. Like, they prepared us for college, really. I know a lot of high schools don't really do that. So, it was different. From my 9th grade year to my senior year now, morning workouts, lifting heavy. The recovery was getting me right. The coaches there encouraging us, helping us with everything we was doing. It was crazy. I don't think nobody can compete with that. Now that Creekside work, it's different.
100%. And then before I bring Craig in, any advice you would give maybe to other guys that have a great talent level that you do, but just underrated, waiting for that opportunity?
Stay down, stay blessed. Don't give up. It's never too late. God got the plan for you. Everything, he got the route. You gotta continue that route and stay faithful. Trust him, but keep it in your hands and work. Don't make the bad decisions. Do the right things at the right time. Don't keep your grades up. Do the right thing when nobody is looking, and you're gonna get there.
And Phoenix, talk about just how special it was for you to finally commit February 2nd to Albany State. Just after this process, the season ends, you go through the month of January, you're still waiting, just to have this week where you're committed, now you're officially signed.
When I went down there last weekend for the visit, seeing the environment, the coaches, how they welcomed me as a family, it was a blessing. It felt good. I felt like I was home, and I knew that it was the right team. It was the right choice to make. So I took that moment, took it, and now I know they're gonna trust in me. Put me on that field as a freshman. I'm gonna show them what I could work with.
And then this season, I mean, it was so impressive. Just once you guys came back from that out-of-state trip, you come back into the state of Georgia, the defense, I mean, you guys really locked it down, had such a great run. What does it mean to you just to be able to maintain that Creekside standard as a defense this last year and kind of leave the program just where you left it? It's in good hands, but being able to just keep it up to the level of excellence at Creekside?
Last year, it was state runners up. We had to stay with the standard. We couldn't fail that standard. That's a big thing on Creekside. Because we haven't went back in 10 years since last year. So we had to keep it up. So this year, that out of state game, it took a turn on folks. Folks thought we wasn't gonna be as much, but folks underestimated us. And you came out and showed them play. Made it to the 4th round, fell short, but that it's still a bigger goal at the end of the day. Everybody take L's at the end of the day. So, we took it from there. It was bigger things, got folks in college, better themselves as a man and in life.
Yeah, and then Coach Dixon, when we reached out just about Creekside's class of 2025 signees, he wanted us to talk to you specifically. So what were some of the things that Coach Dixon kind of put on your shoulders this year to lead the team, and what did he expect from you?
He expected very high expectations. He wanted me to be a great leader, a great young man, take care of my family, keep the teammates in line, make sure they're doing the right thing at the right time, keep them accountable, even myself accountable, not just worry about everybody, worry about myself too. That was the biggest thing. He was like, always focus on yourself. He said, because when you come with yourself, it's gonna come along with coming with others. They're gonna follow you when you're doing the right thing.
And then, Phoenix, I want to ask you a little bit about, you guys have a great slogan out there. I don't think everybody knows what it means, but if you can share, try pride, what does that mean to you?
Try pride is a lot. It's die for the seed, man. You got to put your sacrifices. It comes with a lot of work. That on the back of your jersey and on your chest mean a lot. Not everybody can put that on. So, I took advantage of it for my 4 years and worked. And, I made the blessing out of it.
For sure. And obviously you talked about your brother being instrumental in you obviously ultimately landing with Albany State. What does he just mean to you, man, and the impact he's had on your life?
He means a lot. Big brother's a role model. He made it to the NFL, Cleveland Browns. He came up short. He's still going to get the opportunity more later on in life. Whoever come out, reach out to him. But he taught me to do the right things. He had the good grades. I followed that with good grades. His work ethic is very, he's on top of that. He'd be waking up in the morning to this day now, working out with Shayon, in the morning, getting my body ready for college and getting me ready for the next level because he's seen it. So, he had the route. So he trying to put me in the right lane with him.
And then Phoenix, real quick, I know you guys just had your ceremony. I think it was at 1 o'clock at Creekside. How did that go, and how many Seminoles were up there?
I believe it was 5 of us. I had my other cornerback on the other side that was strapped, Zachary Carter. I had my running back, Corey Mims, and my D-line, Lawrence Wilder. So it was just 4. It was just 4 of us today, just 4.
Gotcha. And then you had do you have your family, friends there, some student bodies? How did that go?
My environment was pretty good. When they called my name, got the cheers. Family, cousins, teammates, students. Came out to support me. Took the time out their day to come see me on my journey, what choices I made for later on in life. It brought inspiration to me. So I really gotta keep the standard going. Got to keep this up. Not be no disappointment.
And then what was your favorite parts about playing for Creekside just over the course of your career? I mean, you guys take a lot of out-of-state trips, road trips. You played Mater Day. This past year you played DeSoto. So just what was one of your favorite moments playing with Creekside over the course of your career?
I would say that state championship game. It was I know it didn't go the way we wanted to, but it was seeing that was crazy. So I can imagine the NFL or the bigger leagues with the SEC, all the D1 schools. I can just imagine the lights, the stadiums, all the environment. That day, it brought different visions to me. I know I had to make it now. When I seen it that day, I just something snapped on me. I just had to turn it on.
Tell those Albany State favorite that could be watching the show, just what are they getting in a player like you? What makes you different and separates you from the rest?
man, y'all getting a dog. You know, me, I ain't coming to play. It's a business trip. Hey, I'm coming in, coming to work. You know, come new teammates, y'all gonna get to know me. Show me I'm a work ethic. I ain't come to play. You know, I keep my grades up. And, you know, hey, if you don't know what my journey is, hey, I might take a spot, but hey,
I love it.
coming to work. But yeah, the Albany community getting a dog.
Yes,
you know, I come with respect. You know, all the elderly women or all the elderly men that's there. You know, all the alumni. They're gonna get the best out of me.
100%, man. Well, I want to say thanks so much for just sharing a little bit about your journey, Phoenix, and obviously that great Creekside program out there in Fairburn, man. Always fun to watch you, man, and good luck in the next step of your journey.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Phoenix, Harper right there. Coming up, we will do underrated and overlooked. Top prospects still unsigned that is still looking for a home right here in Georgia. Don't go anywhere. Come right back here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
Breda's better at keeping termites out.
Besides the fact that we're sending a licensed inspector to your home, we're also using state-of-the-art technology. So we put those two things together to give you the best possible termite inspection. Quite simply, Breda is better at keeping termites out. Only Breda protects your home with a complete liquid barrier from Termador. Your rate is locked in for 10 years, so if live termites are ever found, Breda will retreat. All for free.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Georgia Match just made going to college in Georgia unbelievably easy. Check it out.
With Georgia Match, let them log into the portal and see all of their options and just go ahead and hit that admissions button.
It's a genuine, joyful, motivational reaction I see from students and parents alike.
One of the values that Georgia Match brings is that it puts the power in the hands of the students.
Claim your spot. Go to georgiafutures.org or ask your counselor. See you on campus.
The Georgia Sheet Metal JETC equips apprentices with the knowledge and skills required to start a rewarding career in the sheet metal industry with programs in HVAC, industrial welding, and testing, adjusting, and balancing. Training is 100% free and allows apprentices to earn as they learn. Journeymen graduate with no student debt and have the potential to earn more than most college graduates. Visit our website to learn more about this opportunity at careersinsheetmetal.com.
The Mechanical Trades Institute is an opportunity towards personal financial freedom through hands-on and rewarding work. Our school is completely free and gives apprentices the knowledge and skills required to gain access to a lifelong career path. Apprentices learn pipe fitting, plumbing, mechanical service, and welding. They earn money as they learn and graduate with no student debt. Start a career with the Mechanical Trades Institute and change your financial future.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Sometimes you got to do things on the fly. It's all good. We calm, we cool, calm, and collected, you know? All right, let's get into our underrated and overlooked. I'm going to start this part off. A guy that we're not talking about enough. Played in the state championship, won back-to-back, had the big hit against Jeremy Hick-Linksey. I don't know how this guy is still unsigned, and that's Hayden Tumania of Milton. I mean, when you look at a linebacker, Craig, I don't know what else a guy can bring to the table and show what he can do. I mean, he can blitz, he can cover, he can play all over the field. I mean, this kid here is something special, and I've always enjoyed visiting and talking with him. So underrated, but still out there. I don't know how, Craig. I mean, your eyes, you've seen him up close and personal. What else does he need to do to get that opportunity?
I really don't know. GPB, Recruit Georgia, everyone has that list of, like, make that kid an offer. It feels like he's been a routine guy, and Milton's played a lot of televised games. Every time he goes out there, ball's out, they get the win, and he shows up. So to me, I feel like he's a guy that you know what you're going to get. He's hardworking. He's played on the best team in the state for the last 2 seasons. He won 2 state titles. He delivered that game-changing hit, or one of them. He's very physical. I don't really understand it. I feel like to me, it's like when I watched the NFL draft and I used to see teams pass on guys like from the SEC or big-time defenders that played in the toughest conference. It's like, why aren't you prioritizing them? You know that they can withstand the physicality. You know they're prepared. So I think his ability to play for Milton these last few years, hold down that spot, show up week in and week out, do his assignment, it just shows he has the physical ability to have longevity and also still develop in a potential role. I think adding a guy like that to your roster, it's a pretty safe bet.
100%. And then another player that had an outstanding year, Craig, and obviously Cambridge. We talked about that Fulton County area, and that's Weston Taylor, still unsigned currently now, unless something changed on social media. I don't know. I haven't been able to check. But 3,000-plus yards this season led Cambridge to a quarterfinal appearance. Their deepest run, Craig, in the playoffs in their program history, in first-year head coach Tyler Jones.
Yeah, and so when we look at our Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame, we had guys like David Green, who would go to South Gwinnett and revolutionize their offense from a traditional run game to passing. You saw Hudson Mason do it at Lassiter. That's what Weston Taylor did with Cambridge this year. Not only did he set every school record, he absolutely shattered them, 36 touchdowns. They had never had a passing attack like that. So if he would have been in that system multiple years, he would have been higher on the recruiting boards entering this season, but instead he just had a great senior season. He actually won Class 4A Player of the Year for Recruit Georgia. I still think he's going to get an opportunity, maybe to like walk on somewhere, but certainly him grasping that system and having that one season in it and doing what he did, it shows. Just imagine what he could have done throughout his career.
100%. And then a guy we mentioned earlier with Jonesboro obviously going against him, and that's Logan Nagua. Obviously had a great career with Stars Mill, ended up getting to a semifinals over the course of his career. Finished in the second round this year, but runs that wing T offense. I think he's a very underrated quarterback prospect as well. Could do a bit of everything.
Yeah, he's really a leader on the field. I think you probably saw that just in crunch time. He's not afraid to use his abilities, break tackles, extend plays, very electric, tough quarterback, great overall athlete. I think what Stars Mill did the last 2 years with them, they lost to Perry on the last second. They made another great run this year, and he was outstanding for them.
And then a player that's also surprised on this list, 3-star running back Westlake. Tamir Bransford obviously has had a great career there and has been, very, dominant when he's been able to get his touches with the Lions. Still surprising he's still on the board, was initially committed, but obviously now is open.
Yep, Westlake obviously had a great offensive season. He helped balance that out. A big-time recruit. We do have some good news from this list, though. I just looked it up. So Ware County's edge, Jamar Burden.
Here we go.
He did commit to Ball State, so he was one of our guys on the list. Looks like he took a visit recently, and then his commitment just came. So he was able to get that late opportunity. That is a big get for Ball State. He was one of the better edge rushers in the state this season.
Yeah, one, I just don't understand why it took so long just, for colleges. I mean, he checks every box that you want. Jamar Burton does, all right. 54 tackles this year, 9+ sacks, 21 tackles for loss. I mean, physically imposing, big guy. I don't know. This one is kind of head-scratching, but I think he's going to be one of those guys you see, okay, really good freshman season or early on in his career with Ball State and transfers to a bigger program. I think he has that written all over him and a very underrated prospect.
Yeah, and I mean, when we were talking with the Athletic Academy, a lot of head coaches are the biggest advocates for their players. And if you follow Ware County, I mean, people were begging them, take a chance on Jamar. He's got the physical skills. He's what you want at this position. Finally gets his opportunity, so that's great news. And then Northgate safety Mason McKnight looks like he just committed to Hutchinson Community College. He's going to go there to continue his career. Big-time prospect. Safety out of Northgate.
Yeah, very underrated. 35 tackles this past year. Was really good in the secondary, 2+ interceptions. Was initially committed to Georgia Southern, but obviously that fell through, ended up decommitting, and now will be at Hutchinson College, which is not a bad bet. Craig, I know a name you know very well. Alvin Kamara also went that same route and was able to go there. Didn't work out at Alabama, goes to Hutchinson Community College, and then eventually ends up in Tennessee, and now is an all-pro in the NFL and one of the better players of this generation when you look at the running back spot with Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, obviously Saquon, and so many more.
Yeah, Hutchinson, to me, it was like before the transfer portal, that's what it was. I mean, you go there, you play for them, and you get that opportunity to potentially transfer out after a year and a half. So he will be able to do that. We also have Carrollton's edge rusher, Zion Cooley. a big-time prospect out of Carrollton. Obviously had a lot of eyes on him with all the talent around Carrollton, but he is still looking for his opportunity.
Yeah, he was really good this year. I mean, when you look at Carrollton and the run they were able to make, right, they took over that second half against Buford, and it was the defense. It started with Caden Spratling, who's obviously class of 2026, but Zion Cooley was also a really big factor in that. And shutting down Buford, they really nearly pitched the second half shutout after they had, they made that fumble against Dayton Rayola, and the Carrollton defense completely shut it down. He was a large reason why. I think they had like up to 5 tackles for loss in that game, a lot of sacks. I mean, that's how you get it done. Another underrated guy still looking for a home.
Yep, and that combo between Carrollton's talented secondary and then the pressure he was able to put on, that's why their defense was so good this year. We also have Perry safety, Devin Smoot. If you watch Perry 2 years ago when they made that historic run to the state championship, it's not surprising. Perry wasn't the biggest team, but their defensive players, they hit extremely hard. They're very physical, well coached. This year was a little interesting for Perry. I felt like their defense had some trouble. They gave up a lot of points, whether it was against New Hampstead, but they played in that extremely challenging region, and I think he's a guy that has been in big games. He's played for a great Middle Georgia program. I think he's ready to go too.
Yeah, he had double-digit offers, 79-plus tackles this year, a forced fumble and a fumble recovery, and obviously was instrumental in helping them win their first ever state championship a few years ago. So he's going to be interesting. Another prospect out there that's still unsigned is Edward Coleman, obviously of Calvary Day. He played along with Thomas Blackshear, had a really good season, over 800 yards receiving, double-digit touchdowns. He was super special for them. Going to be interesting to see where he lands as well. I think he can also be a key contributor on the next level.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, we're sitting here scratching our head for some of these guys, they haven't been signed, but it obviously is no secret it's been more difficult for them with the transfer portal. A lot of colleges aren't able to make those promises early on. They have to wait to see where all the pieces fall. So we might see some late pushes with these guys. And I have a feeling none of these guys on this list are going to give up that dream to play at the next level.
Definitely not. And then, Craig, I want to ask you about a little bit, and that's Roswell. Let's start with their offensive line. Obviously, going to have a new coach coming in now, obviously the defensive coordinator, or offensive coordinator formerly of Lee County. But just talk about Andrew Stargell, right? Last year they had a really good guy, that was their Anthony Knapp, who ended up playing as a freshman with Notre Dame. It always produced, seems like, offensive linemen. Initially committed to UCF, but obviously Coach Gus Malzahn no longer the coach there. He's at Florida State. What's your thoughts on just him and his availability?
Yeah. Roswell, to me, I mean, they seem to always have great talent in the secondary, and then that solid play up front is why they're able to, have that great rivalry with Milton every single year where, they own that for multiple seasons. Milton's had their number. I just feel like offensively, that has not been Roswell's problem at all. I feel like they've been able to put up points on anyone they play. And it comes from that reliable play up front from the offensive line, keeping them balanced, and certainly one of the better prospects we've seen.
Now, there's a program, obviously, we talked about earlier, Craig, that I want to ask you about, and I think they do a really good job of this. They have everything kind of spread out. Obviously, Coach Domo does a really great job with Jonesboro. You obviously have, Coach Syrup, who's, we've talked and had on the show numerous of times before. Obviously, Coach Floyd is their head coach, but I think what makes them different, Craig, and why they have such an eye on them now is the job that Coach Syrup has been doing with their program. They're going to have 9 guys signing today in their national signing window, and this is the second window. So if you can, talk about just the importance of having a guy that's a recruiting coordinator, constantly pushing. He goes on visits with them. Why is it so important for high school programs to have, especially with everything with the transfer portal and the new age of college football?
I think it's such a great example of the role that the coaches play. So when Coach Syrup was trying to turn Jonesboro into not only a great football program in the state, but a place that is sending players to the next level, he would have to go out there on social media, in his appearances, and advocate for his athletes. And the next piece of that puzzle is they have to prove him right on Friday nights. They have to go out there and win games. That's exactly what they did. So he went out there, he had the vision. He said, you guys need to recruit our program. We're on the rise. We're putting in the work. These are great kids. And then sure enough, they would go out there and really have some of the better back-to-back seasons Jonesboro's had, and now he's validated. And so we were talking with some of the tools that are at the disposal for these high school coaches. Well, Coach Syrup, he's been doing this for multiple years, just advocating for his guys. I think that's the biggest thing we're seeing now if you want to have your guys go on to the next level in this competitive environment, you have to have a recruiting guy. I think Jonesboro has proved they have one of the best in the state.
Yes, they do, certainly. And obviously, you can go watch their national signing day. A point I do want to point up, I'm pretty sure we have the graphic, but just wanted you guys to be able to scan the QR code, go to scoreatl.com for all of our latest updates around just signing day and everything like that. Remember, we have a newsletter as well that you guys can subscribe to. Right there is the QR code. Sign up for our weekly high school sports reports newsletters. Lands in your inbox every single Saturday. Breaking news, recruiting updates, classification blogs, and more. And we just had a story that broke, obviously. Hayden broke it yesterday. Brooks Breen, obviously, making his commitment as well. That's on scoreatl.com. So remember that you can subscribe and you can go there via this QR code right there. So many more great stories coming up. And as we kind of close the chapter here on 2025, we'll have, obviously, I think one more guest on. Just so cool to see everyone play and see them be able to have an opportunity at the next level, Craig. Just very underrated class, but I can't wait to see what some of these kids do at the next level. We had great guys this past year, like the KJ Bolton's coming up big time, being able to play early. I can't wait to see what some of these guys do at the next level.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out today is kind of the humility of all these guys. None of them, yeah, they have that confidence, but you can tell they know they're going to have to put in the work at the next level. They know it's not going to be easy, and I feel like that comes from the fact that they played for these programs. It's such a challenge to keep that standard up, to be able to make those runs, to live up to the expectations of their coaching staff. They've done that. That's why they're prepared for the next level, and that's why you see that attitude they have where they're excited, but they know that they haven't arrived yet. They're still going to have to put in that work.
100%. Well, guys, we're going to conclude this segment. Coming up, the last 20 minutes of the show, so don't go anywhere. Come right back here on the Peach Sports Network as we wrap up the class of 2025. Yes. Hey, Jacoby, can you hear us? If you can hear us, just put on your camera. Bet. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Najee Wilkins along with Craig Sager. So this is the last part of the show. Hope you've been enjoying our National Signing Day special. It's been super fun to be alongside here with Craig, just having a great guest on and being able to talk the latest with them. But we got one more in store for you as we wrap up. Jacoby Diamond of Cedartown. What's going on, Jacoby?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to see you, man. How's everything going?
Everything been going good. Signing tonight at the high school.
Yes, sir, man. And I want you to talk just a little bit about the Cedartown program. You've obviously, what makes that place so special, Jacoby, is that you guys have been playing since you guys were little. You know, Little League, youth ball, middle school, and obviously up to now. How fun was it, man, playing this last season with guys like Tay Harris, DeMarcus Gardner, and the whole crew, Michael Johnson, everybody?
Yes. I mean, it was special seeing my teammates, us from little, growing up. We just all been playing together. We've been balling since we were little. And, like, just coming to the last season, I mean, it was kind of sad playing the last game with my bros, but we all going to do something better in life, and we just going to succeed.
100%. Now, you obviously are a great player in your own right. You know, you're very underrated. For you, just how have you been able just to stay patient and ready for your opportunity when it came and be ready to go?
So, what'd you say?
I said, how have you been, just, you know, being able to be grounded and patient, you know, when your opportunity presented itself at the next level?
Yeah, you know, it was hard seeing other people getting a lot of offers. Like, I know I'm pretty underrated myself. Like, you just got to stay down and just wait till your time come. And I just been praying to God every night, and he just blessed me with the opportunity.
Yes, sir. And then, you know, what about your game you feel like stands out, makes you just different from everybody else?
I feel like my ball get off in my hands. I feel like I got the best hands. I feel like I'm one of the top defensive linemen in Georgia. Including my hands, my ball get off. That's just me personally.
100%. And just talk about how everything came to be with just Tuskegee. Obviously, they're taking a chance on your great HBCU at the D2 level. Just how excited are you to get out there and be able to perform at a high level?
It was pretty crazy. Fort Valley, the coaches that was at Fort Valley, they all had moved to Tuskegee, but the coach that was at Tuskegee, they was recruiting me too. So I just feel like it was God telling me, like, Tuskegee is the way to go. If two different coaching staffs was recruiting me from there, so when I got on campus, they showed me around, and it just felt like home from there.
And as I bring Craig in here, just last question. Talk about the relationship you was able to build with that coaching staff, obviously that was formerly at Fort Valley State, but moved on to Tuskegee. What made that relationship special between you guys?
Coach O.C. Williams, that's my guy. He is a promising man. Like I feel like he holds true to his word. He's not going to sugarcoat nothing with me. He just going to keep 100 every time.
And Jacoby, Cedartown, you guys just work out so hard. You guys are one of the strongest teams in the state. You were mentioning that you feel like you're one of the best defensive linemen out of Georgia. Your coaches have talked about how your hard work that you've poured into the program is why you're getting this opportunity today. What are you going to work on next to be able to prove yourself at the college level?
Right now, I'm working on. I know I'm strong, but I'm trying to get stronger as the college defensive lineman. I know they pumping a lot of weight. I'm trying to get faster, trying to get more strong. I'm just trying to get my body right before college.
And then you're talking about your speed. Do you feel like your speed maybe is a little overlooked? You're faster than people give you credit for, and how much fun is that to go out there and kind of show your quickness and win that way?
Yes, sir. I mean, I can run 19 miles per hour at like 290, so I feel like that's pretty good for my size. I'm 290 pounds right now, and I'm running 19.5, 19.1, somewhere around that area.
Wow. And so you were talking about your celebration tonight. I know some of the guys have already enrolled early, but what are you looking forward to just being able to have this ceremony tonight and really close out your varsity career at Cedartown, be able to focus on the next stage?
I just want to see my fam, my brothers. I know they all gonna be there. They all been texting me. Tay coming from Atlanta, DeMarcus, he couldn't make it. He all the way in Kentucky, but I just want to see my fam. Just want to see all the people that done helped me get to this point where I am today.
Absolutely. And then, what were some of the takeaways you have just from your varsity career at Cedartown? Some of the maybe team mottos or advice that you think is going to be able to help you at the next level?
My coach, Abram, he always had these three things. Can we trust you? Are you dependable? And do you care about others? So I just got to take that. I just got to take them three questions with me to college, and just can they trust me? I know I got to bring the juice to the Tuskegee squad.
Right, and you were talking about how maybe it was a little frustrating seeing other guys get the opportunity, you having to wait and be patient. But I mean, how relieved are you? How excited are you to have your new home and be able to focus on that?
I'm pretty excited. I just got to get in there and ball and do what I know how to do, play football.
Just talk a little bit about Jacoby, just how instrumental Coach Abrams was in everybody's success at Cedartown. You guys made a state championship. He coached you guys hard. I know he means a lot to you guys. I've talked to several Cedartown players, and they say the same thing about Coach Abrams. What did he really mean to you?
I mean, he was a good leader. A lot of people didn't like him, but he was gonna stay on your butt. He was gonna have you up here Sunday through Sunday. He was gonna have you up here 4 to 5 hours. He was gonna have you working. If you didn't want to work, you weren't gonna be here.
100%, man. And it's from your journey. What would you tell others that they can maybe peel away, man, just to be ready when the opportunity comes?
Take your freshman weight serious. Don't play around. Like you gotta really get in the weight room your freshman year so you can prove yourself on your sophomore year. Because a lot of people don't get to play as a freshman. You just gotta come in and stack your days as a freshman. Then your time gonna come.
And then Jacoby, talk about kind of your frame. You're 6'1", about 290 right now. When did you start to fill out at the high school level? Kind of what was your playing weight early on in your varsity career? When did you get into this size?
It was my junior year where I started getting strong. I started taking weightlifting really serious. I cleaned 365, I squatted 675, and I benched 330. So that's when I started feeling it like I know I can be something at this point.
675. I mean, did the Tuskegee coaching staff, they see your weight room numbers? What'd they say about that?
They like it. A lot of coaches like it. A lot of coaches like my weightlifting performance.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. And what was the Cedartown weight room like? I mean, it looks like you guys just got after it, and there a lot of competition, who can lift the most weight regardless of position. It looks like it doesn't matter if you're a quarterback, receiver, lineman, you guys really got after it.
Yeah, so we got after, you got DBs squatting 480, you got D linemen squatting 675. I mean, everybody in the weight room is gonna be strong. Like, you're not gonna leave Cedartown weight room not being better than what you was coming in.
Did you just say DB squatting 480?
Yeah, my boy Tay squatted 480. I spotted him.
Yeah, y'all boys are different out there in Cedartown, man. That is crazy, 480. Last question, man, before we let you go, man. Just talk about your journey a little bit in high school. What was your favorite memory, man, over the course of your career?
I gotta say 4th round against North Oconee. My 10th grade year, it was like 1,500 people walking out for pregame lunch. I was like, yo, this gonna be a crazy game. We got in the game, we couldn't even hear the snap count. It was a crazy game, and we won. We went to state right after.
Yes, sir. Well, 100%. Thank you so much for coming on, man, and telling a little bit about your journey. Super special, man. Wishing you nothing but the best, man, and stay in touch.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Jacoby Diamond of Cedartown. Got a couple more minutes here, obviously, before we wrap up, Craig. But just what's your biggest reactions to, obviously, that interview?
Well, you wrote a good story on Jacoby on ScoreATL.com. Anything else, just talking to him on what your takeaways were about what kind of player he is?
I think he's an underrated guy. I think he, obviously can add a lot to the team as they continue to build. He added a guy did a story on Roland Grimmett, who obviously committed their rich lineage and history. But as far as Jacoby, man, I mean, just underrated dog, I think. Just a guy that can add a lot. I obviously said the squat numbers sent out to me over 650-plus pounds, man. I mean, that not everybody that's coming in as a freshman can do that. So I think he's just similar story. He's going to be underrated, can come in, play there maybe for a year or two. I end up seeing him transfer and going to a bigger school.
Yeah, not only that, he said he's hitting 19 miles per hour.
Yeah, that size?
Yeah. So 675 squat, 385 power clean, closing 400 bench, and he's running 19 miles per hour. Cedartown, it's where Nick Chubb came from, Tay Harris. They have just a unique ability to add that size and strength. And when you're preparing for the college level, he's going to go in there. And a lot of these other players, they might have been in college 2 years. They didn't come from Cedartown. He's going to really turn heads in the weight room, and I feel like that's going to give him a leg up to see playing time early on.
100%. Well, Craig, let's talk about, as we kind of wrap up the show, just what prospect are we both just excited to see at the next level?
C.J. Wiley, 100%. I think he's the best receiver to go to Georgia in a long time, maybe since A.J. Green. Truly special player. What he did in the state championship game was so just cold-blooded. That touchdown before the half, one of the best high school plays I've seen. And then Luke Nickel, we haven't talked about him once. The career he had at Milton, his maturity, leadership, ability to handle the big game, I think he's an absolute superstar. He got a lot bigger later in his career. He's tough. He can run when he needs to. I think he is a truly special quarterback and a guy where we've had a lot of great quarterbacks come through the state. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Juju. Luke Nickel's as good as any of them.
No, 100%. Safe to say you're liking that A.J. Green comparison, huh?
Yeah, no, it's spot on.
Yes, sir.
Spot on.
I go for me. Obviously, we talked about a whole bunch of them, some tech guys, but I'm going to go Antoine Hill of Memphis.
Yes.
I'm excited to see him. He ended up winning, I believe it was Player of the Year when he went to the NBC All-American game. But how early does he play? Now, Memphis is a very underrated team when it comes to American Athletic, but they had a really good year, and I think they went up against Tulane in that American Athletic Championship, I believe. So I want to see how early on can he play for them, and an underrated guy that I think you can see make some potential noise. I've compared him to having maybe a similar impact to what Lamar Jackson did. Not saying he's going to win a Heisman, not saying he's going to, be one of the greatest players to come through college, but I think he can have that impact if he's given a chance, and I think Memphis was wise in giving him that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, physically he's been that height, which is what's so impressive. When he went out there as a freshman, he's already like 6'5". He's been physically gifted that entire time. He's got such a huge arm. Has so many snaps and reps that he's had playing against the best of the best in those conferences. He went out to the All-American game. I think he physically has the tools to go out there and really become one of the best quarterbacks in the country if he gets that opportunity at the college level.
Yeah, 100%. And Craig, I just want to ask this, what was your favorite highlight from today? Obviously, we did a 3-hour signing day special as we kind of wrap up and close. Which guest, or not even guest, but just what moment kind of really struck your eye that you enjoyed the most?
I think just North Gwinnett coming in here, I felt the bond that team had. You heard them already hyping up guys down some of the underclassmen that they're leaving behind. They know that they had a special run this season, only losing that one game. I just feel like that group was really close and tight-knit, and what we liked about them, they seemed to have just a special playmaker at every position, and then just them talking about the way they got after it at practice. You can tell that this team just loves competition, and these guys are going to be well prepared.
Yeah, that continuity, as you said, Craig, was very apparent. Coach Godfrey doing a great job. Close-knit team, 12-1, great season, making it to the quarterfinals. I really like talking to Jalen Carter, though, who's obviously committed to Southern Miss. He was a fun guest. Really enjoyed just his presence and him talking about just his journey, building that chemistry with Jace Johnson, Adam Carter, the head coach there now, being able to come down and implement everything that he wanted to do and just having a phenomenal career. I mean, that was a great story.
Yes, it was. Then Jaden Holder from South Gwinnett, very impressive young man, well-spoken, extremely smart. Going to the Naval Academy, I think he's as impressive as it comes.
100%. Well, guys, that's going to conclude our National Signing Day special. Thank you so much for tuning in on the Peachtree Sports Network. Super fun to be here, and we'll have all of the latest there on ScoreATL.com, and you can rewatch this show on YouTube. All right, we'll be back same time tomorrow from 12, not a 3-hour special, but from 12 to 1. We'll be right here on the Peachtree Sports Network, so make sure you tune in. And thanks for everybody, the guests, our producers, and everybody helped put all this together. Max, Hayden, Craig, Ashley, and so many more.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
What's so great about being a Kroger Boost member? Free delivery on the Kroger products you love, and more rewards too, like double fuel points on everything you buy. Experience a new level of membership, starting as low as $59 a year with Boost by Kroger Plus. Learn more at Kroger.com today.
For a healthier future together, look to Northside Hospital.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision, our team brings it to life.